been brewing in the tier 2 scene is coming into its full power right now, and Boom, they just seem to be getting better as the opponents get even tougher.
Boom have been the ones to watch in stage 1 for me. I love how they play. They've become more disciplined. They still have insane firepower, and I do think they have some of the best prep we've seen in the league. Part of me wonders is if this change to put Bane back in is to disrupt some of this great prep that we've seen from Boom, because, you know, it's hard to anti-strat if you change players at the last second. That's a huge thing, but this Boom roster have been going from strength to strength, looking atop the group today.
Yeah, and as we see the coaches walk out here, it is very important to touch on that. This is a round-robin format. You have time to prepare for your opponent, you have time to anti-strat, and we've seen plenty of these teams with great approaches and great prep, whether they're successful teams in the league or whether even there's some teams that are not having as much success. Every team has shown the ability to prepare a map really well and have a great approach.
Yeah, and I think historically, DRX have been one of the easier teams to read. Quite notoriously, they don't make huge drastic changes, they follow pretty simple.
Xbox, Even sama Ascent guys ya mapnya.
Thrown a real spanner in the works with this roster change today. So, you know, that's the benefit of that 6-man roster, of you have a lot more flexibility, but how's Bane going to look after he's had a week out? He has to refine some footing back on the stage.
Easy to read, I would agree, but then there's the protocol that DRX always has, which is, you know, pretty hard for even the best teams to get through, right? But Boom Esports, this chaotic energy that they bring, this instinctive kind of on-the-fly energy, is something that C teams are notorious for, and it's something that DRX actually knows how to manage quite well in Pacific's past and all the way into this stage. So I think they'll know what to expect, but are they prepared for that? For those individual pop-offs that can happen, as we've seen?
Yeah, it's one thing to know what's coming, and it's another to be able to deal with it. I mean, Famous has been unstoppable with this operator, so you know he's going to try and pick it up. Wait, what is happening?
DRX.
Yo!
Freeing is on Yoru. He's never played Yoru
before. Yoru bro, di Xbox, cuk. DRX.
So not just one player.
Tejo, Viper, Killjoy.
By the way, because Freeing's always been on the Teo, and this is Australia's third game.
Si sama guys, tapi cuman bedanya sama KO sama Yoru bro. Kalau Boom duelisnya cuman Jet doang. DRX 2, Yoru sama Jet.
Something a lot more simple but still prioritizing that KO. But for DRX,
ini Yoru ini buat bikin flash kayaknya guys. Mari kita saksikan pertandingan VCT. Antara Boom Esports sama DRX.
Thank you very much, Mika. Yeah, straight into the fridge and with our food critics, Quack and Komodo. Have you got anything gathered for us, Komodo?
Is there too many cooks in the kitchen right now for DRX? That is one thing that we've got to find out with evidently what we're seeing here with this agent lineup to come on through. But for the Boom guys as well, if you can't beat them, join them. Opting for Nongshim's agent lineup in this one, because the last time they actually played this map was in that Ascension Grand Final against the then SPG, now Nongshim. Different look to the comp as well, a slight deviation in a player of that one, but we got change of a player over on DRX as well, right? Estrella into this one. Now you're seeing, you know, Bane coming back on in, Flashback is out, so it changes who's on what roles in this map, which is really, really interesting. It's not like Freeing hasn't played duels before.
Map pertama Iceball. Mari kita saksikan.
Sure, but we'll see how it all plays out. It is DRX. It is the return of the Pacific Kings up against Boom, who have made
yel-yelnya bro.
up Mount Doom.
Kalian dengar ya yelnya bro?
The match starts.
Gua nggak tahu tuh dari siapa tuh.
Boom, the beasts.
Yel-yel bukan sih guys namanya guys.
Attacking side. And immediately
Ini attackernya Boom guys ya. Defendernya DRX.
Good information at least.
Sepertinya Boom Esports bakalan nge-push ke set A. Vipernya, siapa sih Viper namanya bro? Dos.
All the way up, but yes, more importantly, Boom on the attacking side have already set themselves up around 410.
Wow, timingnya sangat membangongkan.
Wah. More space, but cut off by the toxic screen.
Oh, NC slash up.
Wah, tuh mati satu tuh. Nah, kan. Oh, mereka rotate guys. Mereka rotate.
Yeah, fantastic pickups and also
fantastic, bro.
Mid as well. Look at how he's blocking that off with the poison cloud. So Freeing, not quite able to passage his way through. And you also have Hyunmin already
Pomos menunggu di di mid. Oke, mantap dapat Yorunya. Hyungnim. Hyungmin.
Still trying to do what he can. Does fine and walk away with another kill. 2 kills now so far, but still.
Nah, ini perangainya nih.
With his HP down that low, NC
Quality-nya kita turunin aja deh ya.
Pistol that quickly.
Yeah, Boom with the pistol on this.
Kita menikmati lah guys ya, walaupun break dikit.
To potentially even go 4-0 over DRX.
Boom, you mean the team that like placed second in the
The team that wasn't by all intents and purposes supposed to be in Pacific. Yes.
And then they also took down like Gen G, you know, Paper X even.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now they've got the skin bundle in the game as well.
That you've also bought up.
Yep.
Very nice. Lovely support for the Pacific Ascension teams, but right now it is Boom with the pistol pickup and also Boom with the guns. Hyunmin does have a Marshal, and he's positioned all the way towards yellow though.
Yeah, these are the rounds again. You just do not want to give DRX an inch because they'll take a mile. Kind of curious still to see how these role shifts are going to look for them, how active Freeing is going to be on this Yoru, how supportive Bane is going to be on the Taeho.
Ngedrone, Zero ngedrone guys.
Boom, they're able to
Oke, ketahuan.
string up more rounds together right now, at least doing their due diligence with the stealth drone.
Yeah, just no traps yet being established from DRX. Just stacking up together with numbers. Ooh,
Flash 1 2 3.
bit of a cheeky play.
Oke, dapat Mesiro 1, dapat 2, dapat 3. Dapat 4.
Yep, and now Hyunmin is on the other side of the map, so maybe you can see if you can
Jetnya sendirian doang nih.
with the Marshal, but
Round kedua dimenangkan oleh
you even see a world in which
Boom Esport.
DOS9 can just take this in towards the next round as well, right? They didn't invest everything into this round. They've left him with all the money needed.
Tolan expires, now he's just carefully clearing the angle.
Boom.
Slides the pie. Unfortunately, he's going to get sliced instead. That's a quad for Famous, and he's now 3 away from Blade Storm.
I'd be very interested to see if the strategy of Boom is to get the operator in the hands of him as quick as possible, and this is why DOS9 is holding some of the money. That would be something on the attacking side of Icebox. But now is the test to see what DRX's defenses do look like and how they want to be maneuvering around the map.
Hampir aja bro. Satu lagi dia tuh nge-kill.
You can shift around the map very quickly.
That is very much the intention. So interestingly enough, it's going to be both Freeing as well as Mako to hold out towards green and yellow. Meanwhile, for Boom, they've been having success on towards the A site. So
baru tahu gue ternyata di atas
0 point.
lubang cuy. Bisa nge-flash dari sana ya?
Off Bane and Hyunmin. So you get some information as Boom on where they are currently.
But also for Boom to backtrack themselves in towards middle, DOS9 could pull off something sneaky.
Yeah, just spreading your wings at the moment as Boom. Nobody is extremely far forward except Famous.
Both teams exchanging drones as well.
Yeah, and Famous does have to be a little bit careful here. Of course, DRX don't know if there's anyone on top of pipes, for example, to get the full-on trade, but that is a sinister shot to come out from Hyunmin.
He just saw his thigh and re-peeked. That is pretty insane.
Kenapa mereka Boom Esport tidak beli senjata, bro?
Entry gone. Trying to recollect themselves while DOS9 just stays tucked away as a lurk.
Yeah, you're going to have some good initiative from Boom here and how they want to slice and dice this site.
DRX, on the other hand, just happy to stay tucked away, work with the numbers. DOS9, though, still the opportunity is there. He hears the footsteps and goes in for the spam, takes down Freeing.
Plant
comes in, and DOS9 strikes again. Now DRX are starting to think, I've got to watch for my back, but trying to deny that spike plan with 10 seconds left. They continue to push up. Shiro just quickly dispatches them with that stinger of his.
Bane,
though, sliding through, lets him get the plant, but now for the spray, no, Shiro gets it instead! With the Bulldog picked up now, and that's the bonus round picked up by Boom.
That is a bit of broken aim from Bane there, unfortunately. The patience from Boom cannot be underestimated and understated.
Round ketiga dimenangkan oleh Bumi Sport again.
Force the issue, getting the plant down on the site. Look at all the aggressive utility and abusive utility that it's actually coming down on there, right? So much of that damaging util that DRX are trying to throw out to make them a little bit uncomfortable on the site, but they're very patient in it and how they're looking to just reassess the situation, how they're looking to re-get control. The lurk from DOS9 is gorgeous. So the bonus round going Boom's way will push DRX down onto an eco here.
No alarm bot in this round either, so it's going to be a little bit trickier for DRX to control the map.
And just in this eco round, for those that might be joining us, Boom are in the situation where they need to get to champs to stay in Pacific, right? They get towards playoffs. So we're talking about Boom, one of the teams that does need a lot of points. So if they're getting wins, they're getting to playoffs, they're getting opportunities to get more championship points.
What they really want is to just go for that podium finish.
Dapat satu.
In with the flashes,
1 by 1.
Able to walk away with the frag. DOS9, however, will be able to trade right back. And with all that attention
rotate ke A.
the B site, Boom then transitions back into A where Berserks is already in place.
And this decision making from them so far that we've seen is the decisions and the coordination of a really great caliber team, right?
I do want to note, though, Estrella having to swap over onto these different roles. He's been pretty nifty thus far.
Yeah, learning curve for him, of course.
Maybe a little bit, but he's still able to step up to the plate, which is quite lovely. That said, though, it's going to be the guns for Boom that does a lot of the talking right now. However, Estrella snuck through, does find one frag. In with freeing as well. Off towards the other side of screens, but that will
Round keempat dimenangkan again oleh Bumi Sport, guys.
Now we need to see something to come out from
Wah, kok tiba-tiba ngantuk ay gue ya.
to make their endeavors on this defensive side look not as cold.
Berapa sih ini gerangan, bro ya?
Of course, it is a different look for the team, but also compared to the last time they played on this map against Paper X, right? Paper X still trying to figure out exactly what's working for them, playing on the Waylay with Forsaken, for example, which he actually he had a pretty decent performance on it. It wasn't the greatest Waylay performance that we've seen, but the team, Paper X, they still won the map at the end. DRX did lose after having that 9-3 half. They had an abysmal defense.
Jet can mid.
With only the one round.
Sepertinya Bumi Sport akan menuju ke set B.
I mean, you question if this map and picking it is of any value.
They could be trying to work on a map that they're slightly weaker on, but we'll see.
Well, will Famous actually be spotted here?
Wow.
Wah, ketahuan nih.
The way that drone pops up. Oh, and a player on the
Wah,
other
dapat.
side. Famous takes the duel instead. He does pop the Blade Storm though, so that's going to be quickly nullified by freeing. And now DRX fully is aware.
DOS9 does have the pit. Shiro won away from the Armageddon, but NC Slasher has just picked up the null command, and that would lock freeing into Marco into yellow.
Still somewhat undetected, but yes, very much
Kayak menggunakan ulti.
pinned down now. The
No
flash,
flash.
as well, but the
Boom.
not quite there.
Dapat langsung, bro.
That's gonna be Bane who holds down the angle. A bit of a
Apa kayak
double
gitu ya?
kill, but
Nembaknya.
also for Berserks and DOS9 to find the trades right back. Time bought in, however.
Buffed KO too, remember? So quick back up on his feet for this player advantage.
And that's gonna be now Pit in for the possible spike plan, and the fragment now beginning to tag away at Fring, which kind of reveals his position, but he still finds a frag instead. Pops into the dimensional drift right quick, and that's Hyunmin to provide additional support. Sniper Overwatch coming in, the flashes to push Berserks off of the spike. Hyunmin now quick to launch forward, looking to possibly get a tap onto the spike. They know that Berserks is rather low, and as he tries
Round kelima dimenangkan oleh DRX. Akhirnya mereka pecah telur juga ya.
Lights out for DRX again, well, for Boom again.
You got to consider how sweaty Freeing must have been with that fragment right under his feet. But he still manages to navigate the pit quite nicely, right? Getting rid of DOS9 there as well. Opens up the line of sight for Hyunmin to be able to just snipe him on down. I say a bit of an overheat moment from Famous to try and expect the angle not to be reheld after finding that first on kill. But it's really the quick decision making and the recognition for DRX to get back into it. A little bit of individual brilliance as well from Freeing in that round as DRX get on the board.
Guys, KO ini kalau lagi menggunakan ulti ya, dia tubuh itu lebih rentan nggak sih? Maksudnya
Boom, however,
Kayak nggak punya armor gitu.
stretch forward in towards a main. Hyunmin in with the off.
Yeah, he's done it again. This time
Boom.
taken down.
Boom,
This is
boom,
all
boom,
good.
boom,
There's
boom.
overextensions for DRX.
With these 4 players now, they can just kind of overwhelm the site, bulldoze their way in.
Yeah, but we've seen Boom be very patient in these scenarios too as well, right?
To regroup and then come in with the utility. The Armageddon to clear out backside, the trades to really ensure that the front is very much secure. So even though a player is lost in the form of NC Slasher, they're still comfortable.
Yeah. And great utility
Oh,
for
seperti
Shiro
DRX
as well.
bakalan
After the
nge-save
Armageddon,
nggak nih kayaknya mah.
special delivery to hold off if there's any bodies to be a little bit sacrificial up through the rafters. In this sort of situation as well, I think DRX just know that they cannot really contend this. As a Killjoy, as a Viper, to try and get back into a site where you're at a 2-player deficit, extremely difficult.
Yeah, no sir. It really brings to mind, you know, kind of how the micro game's being played, especially with, you know, wanting to keep Hyunmin posted up, but not quite having the additional support to
Yeah,
watch his flank.
no one watching the dirty angles that position is susceptible for, right? So he's just kind of immediately destroyed before there's any value of a forward defending operator to get one, get out, reset Boom. You know, depending on who you take out, right? It looks at a different shift on how Boom would have to tackle the remainder of the rounds. They're going to survive with 4 here, which is good for their economy and their chances to extend out a pretty damaging offensive lead.
Which is beginning to make me worry about the defensive side that Boom could bring up as well.
Yep.
And this was a really quick round, you know, with how they just quickly broke things apart, especially with the Armageddon coming in as well.
Oh no,
Lagi
no
aku tuh
interventions
deh.
coming from DRX at this current juncture. So enough maybe trust in the team to try and figure things out. Also, of course, the state that DRX are at right now with the 6-man roster that we're feeling it might be a little bit of the rotating variety and already making playoffs, right? It kind of does give you the idea that it is the okay
Sepertinya
time
Boom
to
Esport bakalan
experiment a little bit,
ngeset
learn a
KA
little
lagi.
bit.
Possibly.
Yeah.
You would imagine they still want to kind of gun for that
Oh, ketahuan, guys.
seed spot.
Yeah,
but
Dia attack
for
ya?
sure.
DRX, a team that loves to think ahead of things.
A minute left.
Kok jadi panas gitu ya?
Establish the spike here as they've pathed up towards pipes and towards the proceedings of the A site. Still, you got to wonder if they do wait too long, what will happen? Because DRX have 4 members here.
Wah. Penghindar dia si Jet. Oh, dapat Shiro. Shiro nih dari tadi.
But Boom quickly just sidesteps most of it. Now look at their positions as well. One up on top of 410, another one up on the site. Shiro, quick to eliminate more players trying to launch their way through. Estrella instantly downed. Of course, the
Famous.
gun's not quite favoring DRX currently, but yes, Famous.
Shiro nih dari tadi.
Much so like the hungry beasts themselves.
Gila
Without
kali ya.
the same name.
He's hungry like the wolf.
Gotta love it. One of these days, he should just get an ace, hop up on stage, howl.
Howl.
No.
Oh my lord.
Saving deh kayaknya.
Hyunmin gonna peel away
Hyunmin.
from this round with the
Hyunmin.
as the trophy, it would seem.
That would be just a bit of a consolation prize.
Yeah, well, another well-navigated round from Boom. Great trades around the site, I think, is important.
Round ke-7 dimenangkan again
DRX that
oleh
are there,
Boom
right?
Esport.
So you've got a lot of these crossfires over there. Shiro with some great utility.
DRX nih
Special delivery,
dari core-nya bukan sih guys?
on top of the site too, managing to find
Kurusel,
another kill.
benar nggak?
It's pretty good.
And you know, humanity did just bring Direwolves somewhat back, so that could be something for Boom.
Maybe. Here we go though. The
Time out
rounds
untuk
come on.
DRX
Expect from DRX, of
sepertinya.
course, now before the gun rounds to see if they're going to be able to start to make their defenses known in the server. 6-1, a scoreline that Boom, well, if they're able to continue this runaway, would come away with an egregious first map scoreline. The way that they're playing and the way that we haven't really seen an answer even in these rifle rounds so far, you know, they're pretty switched on in how they want to move around the map and what utility they want to do to clear these positions. The pausing in the mid rounds as well, you know, to afford yourself a little bit of time to figure out what is our next plan of attack, you know.
how are we moving? What utility we want where? It's great mid-round decisioning and those current moments that I think we're seeing.
Especially with the utility in towards the A side as well. I mean, we've seen the lurks coming out from DOS9. DOS9, who was, you know, maybe having a little bit of a colder performance from last week, definitely stepping up a lot more this week as well, back into his top form. 8 kills, 2 deaths alone. Famous, always so consistent.
Yep. Berserk's up there in the numbers as well, but sometimes he has a couple of maps that he goes away, but you do remember the big ones. Important moment for DRX now. Armageddon online. Australia's going to be one away from the lockdown, so these can be some big ultimates that you can utilize in a situation like this to get around on the board, because you've got to do something here as DRX. Currently fishing for some information over at the B, with Freeing just playing there by himself, playing the long line. Rotations already from DRX around the middle of the map to shift Marco away. Oh. Or rather in towards mid, where the turret does get destroyed.
Marco's here to assist Estrella in case DOS9.
Ngacaukan pemikiran musuh.
Shiro still has the drone. You'd expect him to be dropping this down to start to clear over towards long at the moment.
Ooh.
Unless they want to try and do a drag contact to take Freeing. 0 point, you hear echo through.
It's possible. I mean, if you were Boom, you would be thinking, most times it's Mako alone on towards the B site. This time it's
mereka maju ke?
An NC slasher
Eh.
with Berserks close enough to
Pancingan yang sangat bagus guys ya.
finding nothing. So calling a bit of an audible situation here as Boom. Your idea is to end at A and let Famous trick you.
And he's done just that. Keeps 3 players, even pulling full rotations over onto the B side.
Nice dude. E-nya kosong guys.
Just needs
Itu
to
satu tuh.
stay alive, and that's enough time bought away already.
Bane's the last person to get there, and you got to remember, he's got the Armageddon. He wants to be close to try and deny the spike plant, but he's not going to be able to. Shiro ahead a little bit far there.
Shiro dapat ya.
So just a bit of damage done, but not too much loss for Boom. The spike's still down, and the lockdown to continue to allow that spike to tick.
Molly's already on the spike.
3/4.
Bit of a check as well, but now DRX beginning to plant their boots onto the ground. Still looking at some of these potential ultimates, but DRX very much so looking to maneuver carefully as a full team. They just line themselves
Langsung
up for
dua.
a Z-slasher. Hyunmin now pushing outside of 410, but it's a quick trade.
Wah, menang lagi nih round 8-nya.
Time for the spike to get defused. Estrella just has to
Tidak sia-sia pengorbanan Jet ya.
and get out of there.
That is an outstanding
Alhamdulillah.
solve by Boom in that round.
Pengorbanan Famous
Exactly
tidak ber
what's needed to over at the B
tak
side.
sia-sia
But
guys.
he's able to just get away with 1 kill there is ridiculous. Sire will be
Famous.
with you. Freeing down for the count meant that there's no real scope ability back in towards the A site, and then it's just timing being bought, right? You got the mollies that are being refreshed on towards the spike. NC Slasher, the fact that he's able to get away with 2 there is also just absolutely devastating for DRX's chances to get back in. Converting the round for Boom that DRX just invested a timeout for is pretty large.
Now we're back to the same old positions. Once again, it's Freeing and Mako off towards B, and they've been spotted out by the 0 point.
Yeah, 2 players tagged up by that one, Marco and Freeing. It'll allow Shiro to really get close. Actually, he'd already used the drone a bit earlier.
Wah, ketahuan na Yoru di sono.
Team of Boom though to get close.
Us. Dapat
Even though
satu.
Mako had the stinger, he was
Vipernya dapat ya.
already
Viper
dismissed
DRX
away
guys.
by Famous, and that
Oh, di atas cuk.
Estrella though, up top, will find a target.
Early investment of the lockdown. Buy some time. A gun.
But Boom's reaction is to dig deep.
Wah, wah,
Famous, unfortunately,
Vamos ya.
detained, and that's salvos as well.
wah, timing.
Unfortunate that he's not able to
Oh.
escape on that one. Hyunmin finds Berserks on the lurk. So this is a little bit better for DRX. It's not the most flashiest of rounds. It's not the most expected.
Might even be a little bit of a slip up from Boom, but it's one
Oh.
that DRX will happily capitalize on. Now finding DOS9. Just NC Slasher, maybe to get the spike plants or a kill or 2, but
Israel.
not too much.
Yeah, point and click for Australia. Doesn't need to move his crosshair too much there. Just a
Round ke-9 dimenangkan oleh DRX.
Interesting.
Pambusnya ngapain ya? Nggak lari ya?
Famous, stuck around a little bit, you know, caught with some utility. Unfortunately, couldn't get out.
Kenapa dia bisa kena ultinya si Killjoy tadi, guys?
It's fine.
Jet, boom.
It's alright. More importantly, DRX.
Lari atau gimana sih?
The board, Hyunmin back with the operator in play at the right location. If you want to try.
Posisinya terbuka lagi yang kena itu.
Early advantage.
I've seen them attempt at that before, but hopefully this time with better support. So he elects
boom.
position instead, and that's where he does meet his mark.
Yeah, 0 point close. He's either going to be bottom pipes or top.
Apakah sudah waktunya DRX untuk bangkit? Wah,
Still moving forward.
Zero habis keuntungan nih, guys.
Low 410, sends the stun to give himself a bit more space. And that's going to be the Viper wall up. DOS9 this time in the lurk position.
Yeah, but you got to remember that turret from Boiler will still spot him out in the window now that Icebox has in the tube, so he kind of is kept in check by that right now.
So maybe for Boom to find contact in towards green or yellow, then for DOS9 to start making his move.
Yeah, and Freeing is just going to refresh the gate crash to get out if needed. So he doesn't technically need to stay around. There's all the information.
Moves for now. Double kill found. Trade found by Berserks as well. And that's when DOS9 begins to look for his next target, but unfortunately gets picked off instead. DRX with a recovery on the macro game.
Yeah, there's a couple of these kills that don't get traded out for Boom.
Ambil dulu tuh upnya.
Yeah, individual one first.
Mumpung kan daripada
able to get out.
nggak dapat sama sekali kan ya di round ini ya.
Kind of did his job before eventually being traded. These are the sort of rounds for DRX that you get the first player advantage, right? Then you just kind of don't fumble and give Boom a way back in towards the round. Not too much that Berserks is going to be able to do here. Going to be holding on to the weapon as well. Think about economy. You don't want to get rid of everything. You get another buy, you lose that one, and then you're potentially ecoing, and DRX are, you know, backing towards the half, though there is only 2 more rounds to play.
But also a little bit of talking time for setting up the next round potentially. I mean, they know that there is an op in play now. Where could Hyunmin be? He has attempted at finding the early picks up towards a main now. Could he reposition somewhere else? So that's something that Boom needs to navigate around.
I'm wondering as well right now, you know, something that we're not going to be able to know for sure, but how more comfortable is Bane feeling on this Teo compared to the Omen from last time, you know, for Freeing as well? Is he liking the Yoru? You know, individual confidence in the agents that you pick as well has to be quite big. Now,
Wah, nggak kedengeran kah itu? Wah, nggak ketahuan kayak guys, nggak kedengeran dari itu. Iya kan?
Quick kill found, and even though it wasn't the
kedengeran mah Boom Esport.
still wondering about that.
Sadar mereka.
Unfortunately for Boom, I mean the double initiator composition.
Sepertinya DRX sudah mulai bangkit pemirsa.
Full of their utility and everything, but now not able to do that. Screen up once again. DOS9.
He's got, well, he's been spotted. Hyunmin not biting too early at the cherry.
Wah, nggak kelihatan, bagus. Bisa itu, mati itu. Boom, nice. 3 versus 3. Kalau mereka rotate nih ke B seharusnya nih. B udah kosong guys. Tapi Killjoy menunggu dari mid. Killjoy musuh ya, maksudnya Killjoy DRX. Kayaknya apakah mereka berhasil? Boom.
Estrella still tucked away.
Okay. 2x2 guys, let's go.
And he can get towards the site here. DOS9 just making sure that the main choke point of Orange that you would expect this rotation to maybe even potentially come from is
nice.
After dispatching of Marco. Now it's all onto Bane.
Has to be careful with his utility, might reveal his position. So Bane,
yeah, too late to the party to use the salvos. So now the element of surprise. Where's Bane coming from?
Trying to creep up.
Tejo dari mid.
As well on the spike.
Tejo musuh lagi siapa Tejo musuhnya? Bin guys, namanya guys dari DRX guys.
Onto the utility on the ground. Salvos there it is. But Boom, they're still tucked away. Holds the angles and has an idea, but needs to land the flicks. Goes for the tap again. But look at Boom, so disappointed. What a flick! Bane still running low on time, comes back onto the spike to try to stick it to half. Berserks for the jump peaks, but Bane is sticking it all the way through. Berserks, you've got to go now, and there it is! The triple found at the very end of the round. Boom, onto the 8th.
Oh boy, that one gets a little bit close at the end there.
Nice
You know,
flick, bro.
The salvos, they didn't really do anything, right? They did not make Boom question that he was completely, you know, on it or off it. They just disconnected. They didn't need to overpeak, is what I'm trying to get towards at the end there. And the fact that they're aware that Australia could have been in mid as well, right? Boom are quite switched on. A valiant attempt for Bane. Gets close. Not gonna lie.
Ya, flicknya nggak dilihatin.
Risotto that DRX has. Boom has got all the right ingredients. DOS9 has been such a lethal lurk. But now...
Okay, 5v3. The start that you want as DRX. You're even ready for DOS9 to try and find some
Ente
time.
dos.
This is an immediate answer back from the powerhouse team of Korea.
We've got frags of our own for sure. Now on towards Bane, where he's happily perched up on top. A lot of vision.
Boom.
Spots NC Slasher, receives contact.
Yeah, that may have been a little bit risky, though Berserks and NC Slasher are, you know, a little bit low, which is why NC Slasher is just removing himself to get his health back on up. For the people out there that are thinking that he's trolling, that's the plan, get some health.
And the null command continues to pulse as well.
Yep. But now you
Makum, bokong.
rotated.
You have no idea where they are.
Yep.
They're right close by. DRX now will spring the trap. Estrella to take down Berserks. NC Slasher still has full HP though, and quite a bit of time.
Boom.
Rafters angles, that's a bit off. And the flank to come through from Marco. A bit too much to deal with there.
Round 12 dimenangkan oleh DRX.
8-4, where the defensive side, you're getting the lesser. Look, in my mind, probably not. You know, they'd want to be leading the half on this defensive side, but it's all right. Teething issues.
Teething issues. That's one way of putting it.
I mean, I've got some tissues here. No cry.
It's something that DRX, you know, as the coaching staff goes, they're not afraid to shy away from these picks, maps that they're maybe not as strong on.
Oh, aku ngantuk sekali. Kenapa mataku ngantuk? Ini apakah matchnya kayak kemarin, guys? Yang memilih mapnya kalah, bro.
The map statistics, but that's because of the sample size. If we're talking about a proper sample size, we're looking at Famous.
Yep.
He's high up on the stats, and he's leading in op kills right now as well. So very much interested to keep my eyes onto him. Currently positioned around yellow, while DRX is making more noise around A.
Yeah, trying to turn up the heat at the moment on this alpha side of things, where they start to get a little bit of this info from the drone.
Strategi mereka sama kayak apa tadi ya? Kayak bom tadi ya?
Go for a sneaky peek. Estrella unfortunately punished.
Yeah, but look at the rotations that this has brought from Boom.
Vipernya ke B nih.
Players nearly 4.
Si Mako ke B nih, guys.
You've got a bit of a sneaky shift up the side of B from Marco. Not going to be picked out by the alarm bot. Eventually will. Okay, so he's a bit stuck. He's been having a shaky game, by the way. 2 kills so far, now down to 58 HP. Has to try and call for something big for the team to get some assistance.
Yorunya masih bertahan nih di
They're
setup.
fighting on this one. They're rotating over, freeing to try and keep some numbers of Boom at the A site.
Not the easiest feat. Green needs to pretty much stay alive as well. Will gate crash to rendezvous with his team.
Yeah.
Here comes Mako and gang.
Looking for the plant though, but you got to do something as DRX. You got to try and win favor with a fight.
Can we burn the salvos to use it to save it for when it refreshes onto the post?
Planting.
Boom.
Whoosh.
Collecting in Mako. There it is.
Bisa headshot lari kayak gitu, bro.
Up towards middle.
4 versus 4. Salvos eventually will come online for Bane.
Which means Boom has to get going. But this is when Hyunmin has the tailwind and fires off a couple of pot shots. Boom, beginning to make their move, but Poison Cloud in their way against DRX. They find it against Boom with the one-way through.
No.
And there are those pistols as they swarm and fan out from yellow.
Both pistols for Boom. That is certainly the way that you want to have things happen on your opponent's map pick, by the way. You always got to remember as well the fact that it's freeing, right? Over at that A side there,
Round 13 dimenangkan oleh Boom Esports.
he can still rotate quickly back to the rest of the team if the fake is there. So I do like the idea that it isn't just the immediate disconnection from the Boom guys. They're still confident.
Bisa lo kena lo headshot kepala, Cuk.
If it does go there.
Lari kayak gitu ya.
Very patient, very thought out in how they're looking to do this retake. You've got a force up from DRX now with a couple of the kills collected, with the plant that goes down. They want to keep this one in a contest, right? They need to get this map.
Hence the Stingers all fully bought up. DRX trying to create a bit of a death ball into the A site.
Sepertinya pakai Tejo di map
Boom has a 3-stack here
Xbox
though.
seru juga.
Drone.
Doesn't spot Famous.
No, but he doesn't spot vertically.
Oh,
What's
dapat
happening.
dua.
It doesn't
Oh.
matter here, does it, Quack? Look at what's
And
going
Oh.
on.
Just finding the triple!
Absolute shutdown.
Just by Bane as well. Try to collect as much as possible, trying to salvage it. But still the damage quickly
Ron
dealt and done by
14.
Boom.
Yeah, that is not the way that you want a Stinger Force to go.
Apakah
whatsoever.
mereka kebingungan
Only
untuk
one kill
entry?
that you collect upon Shiro
Entry
when
ke sah?
his damage was already
DRX?
delivered at you. You know, you're trying to bully your way
Sebab
through.
mereka
It's
nggak ada
toxic screen,
ada
you're just
si
gonna
Tejo kan
eat
bisa guys ya. Tejo ada drone nya bro.
So the Haymaker, unfortunately,
And the scan
very
as
well
well.
received by Boom.
Really well placed. Yep, recognize that they're forcing. So now you got this little situation where it's going to be the haphazard buy going into this, still making sure you got enough economy for your next round buy up. By all means, this should be Boom finding 11, unless they make a big mistake and DRX dig deep.
Discipline from Boom again though.
Bahkan
Fully aware
nge-push
of
kayak
the
itu aja ya.
buys, they are happy to receive
Tanpa
contact.
ngecek-ngecek dulu, guys.
See Slasher now for the double Bulldog kill. Famous in with the Outlaw.
Ngeras guys.
Oh, quick swing, but you still got so many more targets, and that's just way too much to handle.
Sepertinya mereka merasa sudah salah
Now, I know a lot of
menjadi
people
sepertinya
out
guys.
there are probably
I
thinking
don't
to
know,
themselves
bro.
this situation, 11 is all they get. But the way the Boom have
kayak-
been playing this map so
Gua
far,
ngerti
and
juga
even their
sih, sekarang
rotations
ngomong
on this
kan.
defensive side, is it going to just be 11? I don't know, man. They're looking pretty
Sure.
good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like-
I'm not shy to admit that I might be one of
Think
those
about it.
people out there, but given how Boom have been playing so far throughout this entire stage 1,
Yeah.
you've got to cheer, you got to root for him.
Yeah, and the elephant in the room, I feel like right now is Marco, right? He was a pivotal component in towards what DRX were able to do on the attacking side against Paper X, right? Just the sheer brutality of his numbers and his trading game and his clutches as well.
Time out
Marco
untuk
is
kedua
one of the clutch
kalinya
players
untuk
of
yang
our
terakhir
tournament,
di
and
map ini DRX
he's
menggunakannya guys ya.
kind of isolated here. Right, it kind of feels like the name of the game for the whole
Pelatihnya
DRX
santai
team
aja
right
nih
now, is
gayanya.
they're all
Nggak
getting
marah,
a bit
nggak apa sama sekali,
isolated,
bro.
caught off guard, not being able to trade
Relax.
properly. It's rough.
Both timeouts spent.
Yep. When was the last time in a map like this that a team has made DRX
Sweat.
no just look like this, right? Like, yeah, we've got the whole Paper X started 8-0 on Haven in that series, right? But it's also, you know, DRX managed to kind of come back on that one. Maybe this is the time that DRX comes back. They've got the better weaponry, right, in this really delayed bonus round.
Potentially.
Double duelist, you want to try and get them to potentially dive on in if NC Slasher's 0 point or Shiro's recon. Stealth Drone doesn't get you. Famous, going to take a page out of Hyunmin's book.
In with
Oh.
the Phantom though, but with the flash out, unfortunately not quite able to react. Shiro still in place. Shoots down the drone, gets away safely.
Yeah, so the player advantage is going to be solidified for DRX as Marco, I was speaking about him, sneaking through middle.
Quickly eliminates the first player that he spots.
Oh,
Makes
timingnya.
quick work off the second. And okay, not quite spotting on Berserks yet, but that is the spike and the site very much controlled by DRX.
Yeah, these sort of situations, DOS9 Berserks, if you find any sort of damage, you know, it could be alright, but it depends on how much damage you find. If you save your weapons, of course the team has another pretty good buy.
Sepertinya Boom Esport bakalan nge-sharing.
So it's not a bad idea to just call this one and really look to protect these guns. You give this to DRX, as I said. Delayed bonus round.
Round 16 dimenangkan
Will be one of these
oleh
rounds where
DRX.
attempting to throw a wrench into DRX's plans by having players further up on towards belt. Might force DRX to think twice about the next round as well.
Yeah, maybe. You know, there's enough breathing room that Boom have afforded themselves with the scoreline in the first half and then picking up the pistol in the second round and albeit even the third round, right? Because of that forced stinger that didn't go DRX's way. That there's a couple of mistakes that Boom can afford to make here. And if the rounds are won by DRX, you know, displaying some really good strength in it, well, there's some adjustments to come out after that.
Let's see.
So the onus really is on DRX here to make sure that they're kind of dotting I's, crossing T's.
Ah, there it is. So we've seen Mako on the lurk now. Now we're seeing Famous in with an op as well.
Yeah, and this is the scary component of the map for me. It's how DRX are going to try and isolate him or alienate him in the map.
Okay, so we're seeing some pings all across belt. We've got that 0 point coming out from Boom as well, so some information already found.
Yeah. Bane's going to be one away from this Armageddon if they look to go towards the A site. He's currently holding the spike, so, you know, kill plant or orb.
Mako playing it safe as well. Drone out from Boom at the minute 20-second mark.
Yeah, they need to start to get some information.
Boom.
They feel like
Wah, menung dia, cu.
what an absolute shot.
Fully anticipated.
Good pre-fire.
Besok
That was
lagi melamun, guys.
nutty.
Yeah, and now you've got all of mid-control essentially from Mako. No Sentinel utility to come out from Boom. They're going to have to either cut a corner or look for some information that the 0 point doesn't hit anyone.
And that also intercepts, you know, potential rotate lines, especially Famous on that op. Now they would launch their assault and Hyunmin finds the entry. NC Slasher has to get out.
Yep.
He only has DOS9 nearby. Famous, he's got to find Mako somehow, some way. Meanwhile, the rest of DRX still holding down the line, anchoring down the site. Famous will eliminate Mako, but at this point, it's just kills.
Ooh.
That's a high sensitivity.
And the crowd gasps with it as well.
Wah,
The
mati
hunt
ini
is
mah.
on though. They know.
They're trying to get it out of his hands, and Hyunmin with the angle from mid will take and rob that op away.
And these are the sort of situations in a map as well
Mati
where
dia
you've
ni mah.
not played it for so
Ketahuannya terlalu
long
cepat, guys.
can start to pick you apart, right? And start to showcase that you might not have the great understanding on how you want to play this map with this agent lineup and how your opponents are going to be.
Absolutely right.
Harusnya lebih terbuka ya.
Wallbang
Killjoy-nya
straight into Raptor
posisinya.
as well.
Yeah, the full clip there. All right.
Magazine. Not clip. Gun nerding. Jokes aside, it's Boom with a bit of an eco now.
Will DOS9 be
What?
cleared? Gun barrel poke from Freeing if he's not ready for this one, but he's aware. He is so aware. So another opening
DRX
play.
sepertinya sudah mulai
DRX,
mengamuk,
another
everyone.
4 versus 5. It's not got as much depth in it because of the equipment that Boom do have here, right? It's not the full kit and caboodle. But it is the protocols that DRX needed to fall back onto. Clearing corners, going together as a team, leave no stone unturned.
Sepertinya kalau kalah juga ini Boom, sepertinya mereka akan mengambil time out.
The first pick. How do we close? How do we get back in?
For clear DRX fashion, they've already done quite a bit of work with that one single kill, especially given Boom's economy. But as I say that, without much information on the A site, they actually regroup up towards green.
Who's next?
There's a weird opportunity that Boom have enough to do something silly here, but
Armageddon as
DRX,
well.
the info on the back of the dimensional drift.
Okay. It begins with a flash from NC Slasher, then the fragment to deny any potential spike plants. Shiro finds a kill,
mendapatkan satu.
has the Armageddon still in his pocket. NC Slasher goes with the null command.
Berhasil dibatalkan ya.
Keeps DRX at bay. Famous up from the back though.
Wah.
And that kind of keeps Boom
Nice,
pinched in.
dude.
Oh, DRX, they're trying to avoid it.
Ooh.
But Famous finds a shot off of that one kill.
Ooh.
Now dashes in and Hyunmin takes a frag right back. Looks
Nice,
for the spike plant.
nice.
Let's look
Wah,
at
menang.
that.
Oh,
First search,
nice,
he's managed to
bro.
buy enough time
Very nice.
that DRX will walk away with that round found.
Very
Boom,
nice,
they've reached
bro.
that point in time.
What did I say?
Nice,
What did
boom
I say?
spot.
That
Wah.
Boom could do something silly. And silliness is the name of the game there. Time to be bought, shots to be found. DRX did not give themselves enough time. That's a 4 versus 5 conversion on what is essentially an eco-thrifty to come through from Boom. Famous's position on the flank, not expected that he gets one. Time to be bought. You've got a great Armageddon that's thrown in there. Great timing to be bought from the null commander. Absolutely sensational on that one. And you're just stopping.
Nggak jadi mereka ambil time out guys. Ternyata mereka menang.
6 map
Boom
points
spot menang
now
guys.
for Boom Esports.
Boom.
DRX, you silly bullies. They're gonna do what they do with
Ke bawah
the
aim guys.
instantly taking down Famous. We have a new challenger.
We have a returning challenge.
Oh yeah. So now all fully in position across pipes. Some towards belt as well.
Oh,
Shiro looks to retrieve more information.
Yeah, couldn't go too far forward with that one, unfortunately. This is hard for Boom.
Armageddon as well towards backside, and that really keeps Boom stuck in place.
Bro,
but
bro,
NC Slasher finding a couple of frags. Unfortunately, gets traded down. DOS9 is way too far.
Way too many balloons to try and throw that dart out to pop there.
Nih si DOS saving sih seharusnya guys ya, saving guys
At this
seharusnya.
point, you're happy with a couple kills, but DRX has everything.
Well, do they? They don't have the rounds, Quack.
That is true.
They have to 100% this one to push us into overtime.
I was thinking in terms of the round, Komodo.
Yeah,
yes.
look, they've got the rounds, don't get me wrong, but if I'm thinking overtime so far and on our fun sample size numbers that we like to highlight here with no real relevance, Boom are 100% in overtimes in their one occurrence.
100%?
Yeah, oh my god. No, DRX spot on that round, freeing with another open.
Round 19 dimenangkan oleh DRX.
Able to convert it when they had the 5 versus 4.
And I see what you're saying, you know, it still is 5 full rounds that DRX needs to pick up just to push things into overtime.
And you're going to have a round where there's going to be some ultimates back again for Boom, and all it takes is one, right? All it takes is one big round from Boom or one slip up from DRX, and that could be the map.
Certainly a tall mountain to climb, but I wouldn't discount DRX. Mako sitting on the Viper's pit. Op still in play.
Boom Esports lagi miskin nih. Klasik semua guys.
To be brought out. See how the opening duel is going to go for the beginning of this one, of course.
Dia ulti nih.
Be ridiculous if Boom are able to find it.
Almost ulti guys.
Yeah, trying to lurk up a little bit more information from NC Slasher though around at this A site. And a lot of the rifles that DRX are shooting, you know that there's some presence in numbers.
Then in with the execute. They fired off a couple of pot shots, haven't found one quite yet, but continue marching forward. It's Hillman in with a couple of kills, but with the stun as well, Shiro walks away with one. Estrella now in sight.
Drone in, get information
Classic, guys.
for Famous to potentially get a clean one.
With the Blade Storm, this could be huge, but unfortunately a frag not found. He's hopping over, but it doesn't quite connect. Now onto the Classic.
You've got no smokes.
But Estrella's just buying time, toying with him, playing with him, off to Bane, and that's when the frag goes down. DRX continue forward.
Yeah, unfortunately there, you've got no cloudburst that you're able to drop at your feet to assist you when your blades do miss you.
Time out seharusnya sih. Sampai time out si Boom Esports guys.
The dice on the site, unfortunately. Looks a little bit awkward with a couple of those duels and how they're being fought, but DRX, they will hold on. Quack, they will have some more depth in this map.
So we're keeping track of things. It's 4 more rounds.
Nah, benar gue kan ambil time out kan.
Boom Esports now getting a rifle round to come back on towards us. These are the scenarios where, as I was mentioning, all it takes is one. All it takes is one.
Wondering about the ults as well for Boom. But at least DRX, you know, keeping things light
Tapi ya,
and jovial.
gue takut kayak mute lagi.
That's kind of why, you know, both teams are at the
Capek
top. You know,
ngomong-ngomong
still rather comfortable.
Ternyata kayak mute.
This is just map 1, despite it being DRX's map pick.
Yeah, and I mean, when you consider, you know, that Icebox hasn't been played from Boom from quite some time and DRX are experimenting, you might, like what Pilsky said, right? You want to bring a new map out from your opponents, see what they've got on it a little bit. It kind of helps Boom to a small degree, where they're going to have some tape of their own to review on this map now as well. But if they win it in their first showing after quite some time, I mean, that also speaks a couple of volumes towards their prep and practice on this one.
I do want to note, though, Estrella and Bane, especially Bane, not too bad in terms of utility usage.
Yep. Some shifts on towards agents for them too.
Vamos,
So
vamos.
let's see after the
Tahan,
timeout
bertahan,
is
brother.
called for Boom, how they're going to look to defend this one. Killjoy set over towards the A site. Spot from DOS9 down long. A little bit more mid-emphasis. Of course,
Tinggal
Marco's been
satu
able to
round
find
doang
some
ini,
good
menang
openers
sekali
there.
udah, kalian menang ini.
Which does
Yes,
bring
Bob.
more attention for Boom in towards
Sabar
the
ya,
middle.
sabar.
And there's a good trap play, actually. A good play from Boom to flash in and get Famous on the line. And now they can turn that into a bit of a flank play if they want, because DRX have waltzed into
Wah,
the
masa nggak flank tiga,
side,
Cuk?
breaking down the door. And, well, they've seen that no one's home.
Wah,
Berserk's one away from the lockdown
Bangkit
as
ini,
well,
guys.
so even a
Offense
lucky
tiga.
wallbang could mean quite a bit. So you do have that flank play coming in, Komodo, but it's quickly dealt with. I thought Hyunmin was watching it and would be able to do something, but
Yeah.
that is quick on the draw by NC Slasher. Now playing for the head and Famous. Still dancing with death, though. Estrella actually picks the kill up. Off to the next one, and that's just going to be Shiro and NC Slasher applying pressure on both sides.
Oh, nice.
This is where it gets dicey.
Ooh.
NC Slasher for the triple. DOS9
Nice.
dispatching off the Viper's pit. Berserk collects onto the final kill, and that's going to be the
map
map.
pertama
Look at
di
the rounds
Icebox
count, and the
dimenangkan
difference is
oleh
gonna
Boom
be 13 to 8.
Esports.
Let me hear you give me 5 big booms.
Boom, 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 boom.
They don't end the series, of course. It's only the first map of this one, but Boom Esports have come out with a pretty box. And yes, so there's still some credit to DRX, right? They're learning, they're rotating players, they're rotating, roles and
Mantap ya.
everything like this, but it just feels like they were a bit outclassed in this map when you consider how the first map of the first few rounds of this one started.
Oh, mengantuk loh, mengantuk itu, mengantuk.
Then you got to stretch out like it was 7-1 at one point in time.
And that's just a huge scoreline to get. I mean, DOS9 is back online. Famous still as lethal and brutal as ever. The entire team just working their way in the first half, just in a really delightful manner.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have to kind of see what DRX's adjustments are going to be going in towards the next map that will be Haven. They do actually opt to start on the attack as well. So whether or not that'll give them good favor and good breathing room, we'll have to wait and see. But it definitely feels like Boom are comfortably in the driver's seat in this series.
I will be noting, though, it is really interesting to see Freeing onto the Euro, and he has pulled out some interesting rounds.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Hyunmin on the jet as well, but it didn't feel like that there was a lot of, well-placed coordination, right? A couple of angles not really checked at the beginning that they did look to adjust and cater for going on a little bit, but it's just the early stages that were rough.
So it still is going to be a risotto that is slightly overcooked, but as we toss it back over to our desk, I got to ask them, how do you like double chocolate chip cookies?
I absolutely love double chocolate chip cookies. Are you getting me some? Are you getting me some, Quack? You better. No! What? What kind of hope is this? I already ran through the first series, Quack. Why would you do this to me? But you know what?
I don't know if that would be healthy for a person of your size, Mika. Like, that amount of sugar is just you're gonna be like pinging off the walls
Hey, what if
from
it's
one
like
cookie.
What if it's like really anyway, going back to Icebox, by the way, it is a good day to I think have a few new bundles in the store because you have Nongshim earlier, now you have Boom with this showing on Icebox here. My big question though, what on earth happened in the kitchen there?
Not good things.
What? Okay.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
We have to ask this question. Why is Freeing on Euro? If you want to play, you have the best Teo player in the world in your team, and he's not on my sweet baby boy.
What have they done to
What have
my
they done
boy?
to him? I mean, he was fine on the Euro, but he is the best Teo. I don't like this double duelist look if you're going to chop and change. Boom exploited that massively. I was impressed by everybody on that Boom side.
Has anyone ever played Jet Yoru on this map before? Like, I don't understand what's going on. DRX, I mean, you go back to their last game on Icebox, which was against PRX, and they played Bane on Omen and Freeing on Teo, and they didn't have Estrella in the team yet. And now they've gone and put a whole new player in the team. They're playing double duelist on Icebox, and they're throwing multiple players onto agents they've never played before in an official, as well as changing a player in the team. Whereas you contrast that against Boom, they played this same comp bar just a gecko for a Teo in September last year.
Yeah.
You know, like, they literally been playing the same comp on Icebox, although it's gone out of the map pool since then, and they've changed absolutely nothing. And DRX are like, we got to change a player in the team, we got to throw this guy on 2 different agents, we got to play double duelist with Jay Yoru. You've never seen it on this map, trust me bro, it's going to be amazing. Like, what's going on?
I mean, this is it all. Bane's first game on Teo, Faring's first game on Yoru, Estrella's 3rd ever game on Killjoy. This is entirely new for these players on DRX, and it looked new.
Could you, okay, go back to coaching global. Could you ever convince your players to just play like agents that they've never played before and just throwing everybody on everything different?
I feel like the only way that you can get away with that is going, we're already in the playoffs, guys, we can chill. But that's what it felt like to me. Where was the fire to win in that game from DRX? Boom looked a class above DRX in that game, in my mind. In individual duels, in calling, in desire to win, I felt like Boom were there. I didn't feel like DRX were there. And they need to turn this round on map 2. I'm worried for them.
Which is actually a good point, right? Perhaps they're experimenting now, especially since they have Australia in. We were wondering how it was going to work, right? Maybe they're doing this little switcheroo so that once playoffs arrives, they know pretty much how they're going to start doling out the roles.
I think it definitely could be that, right? You know, in some ways that's the smart move. But equally, it's like, you got to fight for every game. You don't get many. But I mean, it's hard to fight when man like Famous is on the other side. He's not slowing down.
Yeah, he isn't. I mean, he has just been a force to be reckoned with, and he's on the jet. He's on the jet on Icebox. I mean, this is a classic for him. I even remember in the Ascension games when they were playing against Nongshim and they were having a tougher time, Famous would, even when they were losing, always turn up to those games and have some highlights, have some individual rounds, and he has just been such an oppressive force. This matchup, Hyunmin, the best duelist and a rookie, in towards kickoff here, but here in stage 2, Famous is the best duelist player in this competition. Look at so many different stats.
I mean, this is a round I really want to highlight. I feel like the calling was so good. We see Boom stack this B site because DOS died on that push down B. So he knows the DRX want to end towards B to cover that gun. So they stack there, delay the plant. That's such good calling from them. But Famous here, how can we not highlight this guy? I feel like he's going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. First in so many stats, kills around, damage around, ACS, first kills as well. Like, this dude is just dominating the statistics in stage 2 right now.
Yeah, what I love about Boom at this point in time is, you know how so many teams feel like, oh, you know, we just gotta play our own game, which is like the favorite, like, sentence of all teams. And a lot of pros say how, like, oh, we just have to play, you know, we have to have fun, we have to play the way we do in scrims, we have to play the way we do in rank. Boom feels like they're doing this exactly.
Yeah.
Their players are playing confidently. Their players are playing that, you know, to the level that they know they can be spontaneous as well, which is the X factor against teams like DRX.
Well, they have that comfort because they're playing the same comp that they played for ages, for months and months. They're very comfortable with this comp. You see in this highlight here, like this next replay that we're going to pull out, like they are able to call circles around DRX. You see that tactical timeouts are a double-edged sword. You're 6-1 as Boom. You are front-running on the attacking side, and you have conditioned DRX so much. You see the info denial here. You force the TP off of yellow. You get false information for the Teo drone. So DRX are info-starved here on the defensive side. And
Heaven ya, map kedua guys.
circles around them. You see the dash from Famous on towards yellow. DRX completely over-rotates here. Look at the A players immediately leaving the site and leaving an open site for Boom to play the post plant in. They're able to get the plant top site. Famous even gets one here. His job is done once he just gets to yellow and pulls the rotation. He doesn't even need to do anything extra on top of that. And then Boom, you see the top site plant. You see the nanos get down onto the site. Perfect positioning for NC Slasher, and they play the timing perfection. I mean, DRX, they took a timeout, and immediately after it, they're just getting run around in circles, and that's got to be frustrating. And when you look at the end of that game, the scoreline overall, right? Like, looking at that start that they had on the attacking side is really the difference between when DRX is actually able to start playing the game and not.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like they understood this map. Like you say, honestly, credit to Shiro, he was calling rings around DRX. NC Slasher does take the MVP for the map. Felt like he played great on that KO as well, but honestly, it would be hard to pick an MVP for me from this Boom team. I feel like everybody stepped up, did their job. We saw DOS do big lurks through mid. Great calls from Shiro. Famous stepping up. I mean, I can't fault anybody on this Boom squad.
I'm pretty sure the 9 in DOS 9 count, like, is the number of times he pushed tube that game. Dude just walked up tube every round without fail.
Is he picking that with a kind of like theme?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like DOS 9, I gotta do this 9 times. Every single time.
Lucky number.
Yeah.
But I mean, we saw Mako trying to do the same thing on the other half. You know, it's how you play the Viper in this map. Mako found some time into. Felt like Mako did have a bit of a slower game there.
Yeah, and I feel like DRX maybe got into their own heads. There were a lot of pressure. They knew they were trying out something new. There was this, that pressure to kind of make sure that this was going to work.
Yeah.
Because they can't, you know, break their streak right here and right now. Surely not, right? But this Boom is thinking the same thing.
And this is where I question the roster substitution. I assumed that they were changing their roster to change their style, play in it heavy, but they just went ahead and played double duelist and just kind of tried to shove different people on roles that they hadn't really done as much, or agents that they hadn't really done as much. So that begs the question, what is DRX going to play on Haven? Are we going to see a standard kind of meta comp where we play Breach Teo, we put Estrella on the Breach, we put Freeing on the Teo, we play single duelist? Because to me, looking at the roster and the personnel that they have in the roster, that is the natural choice for DRX when they're playing with these players. But that's not what they did on Icebox, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to know which way Tomi's going to want to take this. I mean, Boom have had a lot of success on this map as well. This has been a very strong map for Boom across this stage. It's easy to see why they would pick it. So I am concerned if I'm DRX right now. They have a big mountain to climb, and it's how do they want to approach this? You know, is Freeing going to stay on this duelist? So they want to keep running double duelist? But I have to agree with you. I'm not happy if that's what they're going to do.
That's Freeing's first game on duelist. Not just Yoro, on duelist.
Yeah.
In an official.
This spontaneous DRX makes me a little uncomfortable, a little uneasy. And we're going to Haven right now. Boom is notorious on this map in the best way possible. But I'm so sorry to break it to you, gentlemen.
I'll go quickly for DRX. I mean, Freeing is on the Yoru, and they have not changed their comp. They're just going to stick different players on different roles, and we'll see how it works out for them.
Across to Boom, big changes here, swapping across to that Yoru ISO double duelist that we see a lot with DOS 9 on the ISO.
You know something about that.
I know all about it.
DOS 9 on the duelist.
Yeah, we ran this comp with DOS 9 in Ascension, and you know, he's a great player. He has great mechanical skills, so he's unleashed on this ISO. I'm excited for Boom heading into this map. Nice to see them change, so the prep DRX will have fallen apart.
Yeah, well, it looks like both teams are cooking now. Both teams are up to something on this map. We're going to find out exactly what it is as we toss it back to Quack and Komodo to take us through Haven.
Thank you very much, Mika, big time, and Pilski. Yes, we're back onto Haven and DOS 9 on ISO.
Yeah, I mean, Mika's saying that both teams are cooking here, but are they cooking with gas or are they cooking with like flint and steel and stuff? Like, how far back are we going? I don't know about this one, Chief. But no, DOS 9 back on the ISO and the Fnatic comp. I don't think DRX would have expected this one to come out from Boom.
Map kedua Haven. Map pilihan dari Boom Esports, guys, ya.
This makeup of DRX agents after what we've just seen on Icebox, I think I'm a little bit more on the side of not really.
I'm a little bit concerned as well. It makes me wonder if
this
is this a result of having Bane in?
Dan pertama mereka nge-push ke si, bro.
Bane and Flashback in before, but that said, they are going to be happy to push up front into C, given the way that Boom have positioned themselves. No trips found though.
NC Slasher with the one paranoia, just able to stop it. He's also actually just checked the whole back of sight to make sure that there was no gate crash from Freeing that was going to be there. Shiro, by the way, starting off the affairs by dispatching of Marco. That's your smokes down for the count.
The rest of them have to pick up the pieces. Oh, that's a second shot.
More?
Yes, please.
1, 2, give me more.
3 into the... Oh, no.
3 and 4, you're on the floor. Come on, Quack. You should know this.
Do not. What is that?
I don't know. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a sneaky spot from Freeing in towards the C site of things here. But can he do anything? It would be a mistake from a Boom member here that could give DRX a way back in. They're not checking the corner. At least it's a trade.
So thankfully found numbers still in the hands of Boom. DRX, however, will have the C site. Spike planted pretty soon, and Salvo's still in play.
Good jump spot from NC Slasher. Trying to peek together some
Plan guys,
information here, waiting for the team to come in for the big old flank.
4 versus 2.
That's something that DRX might not expect. They will be cautious of it, though, and with the heads-up duel picked up, there's a very good chance for DRX to convert the round, but Famous
2-1.
denies those salvos. Back into it, it's just freeing.
Yeah, looking for the 1v1s.
Will he fly high as a
Boom.
free bird? Nope, not quite.
That's DRX not able to find a pistol yet again. They are currently 0 for 3 in this series. Boom. Once again, very methodical on the retake. It's a bit of a good look for them, especially on the back of Shiro's Sheriff shots just working a treat, right? How often do you see Sova players go for a Sheriff buyout, not utilizing anything for shock darts, anything for drones on those rounds, and it just completely crumbling, right? So the fact that that's able to really just come through with those shots is quite nice.
Yeah, especially with the duelists in play.
Yeah.
Still thinking about DOS9 and how he's able to...
I mean, you're a Sova player when you're running a double duelist. It's like, let them frag.
And let Shiro hold. Famous this time holding down C-Long with the Outlaw. DOS9 with a judge!
Yeah. It's just the classics to come out from DRX. Australia with the Sheriff. See if there's going to be anything sneaky here.
At least with the recon broken, Shiro fully aware. NC Slasher to come in and relay to receive, but my classic kills found!
My classic don't do that, and he hasn't even been touched.
Is your classic the DRX classic? I don't know. I don't think so.
It was the boom one last night.
With that, it's the spike plant and a weapon picked up by Hyunmin. The duelist at DRX looking to launch an assault onto his opponents. Sprays found, but with the double tap shield from DOS9 now, it's been quickly broken, smashed open, and DRX answers back with a round of their own.
That is absolutely crazy that Hyunmin is able to find 3 with that classic. 2 of the headshots coming on through as well. That is just, yeah, we need to re-see how this Thrifty actually turned on out, because here we go. Right click.
Ridiculous!
Like how, man? Just how?
Just incredible mouse control and a very appropriate pop-off.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to get something started really early here for DRX, and dropping the pistol, then resetting your opponents on the second round. It's definitely not how you wanted to see things start off for Boom.
I kind of want to see what the player cams for Boom then looks like for the round. But that said, it is Famous now with a Bucky towards Sewer.
Yeah, no gate crash to get out. Well, there is currently, but it will eventually expire, and another one to refresh, so it'd be locked in. It's classics and a Sheriff or 2 for the rest of the squad.
Oh, Shiro tucked away from the drone. So trying to come in for a cheeky angle outside of the smoke. Swaps on towards Hyunmin, and he answers back. Shock dart as well for a bit of chip damage, but unfortunately not too much. Bane will be able to rack up a couple of kills. Estrella in with the Outlaw now, out from mid. Flashes out, Bucky's still in play, but the range not quite until he closes in the distance.
Yeah, speaking of range, you're not going to be able to do too much there as Famous. Oh.
Berserks will attempt at something at the very least. Does have a Sheriff at his feet, but more cautious.
Skill A-nya ada guys.
Bane's low, but there's
Opts for the Phantom.
5 seconds until the salvos come back online, so you know Bane's not going to take a fight.
Which means Berserks does have to apply a little bit more pressure. So baits up the salvos first, and now is cautious as to where the next opponent could be. Does bite a bit of damage as well. It's down to half HP. Just looking to do as much damage as possible now.
Not halved. No time. Up with the ship.
Bane will get away with it.
Yeah, a lot of great damage though to be collected from Boom in that one. Only one playout surviving on the side of DRX makes things a little bit more awkward going into the next round, and you consider the round after that, you're looking to reset them. A lot of crossfires and aren't able to be established when going in towards that B side. It's just going to be the individual mid-rounding and recognition in a round such as that.
Still a cheeky little hit coming out from Shiro though.
Yeah, for sure.
So something that DRX might want to keep track of with.
Yeah, and it's good awareness on what utility you're spotted out by, right? It's the stealth drone not finding him.
Well, at least
positioning close. This time, though, 3 players towards the C site for Boom. A bit of a different look.
okay, especially with DOS9 stacked up with his teammates as well. Back into garage now.
Yeah, you got the dimensional drift for freeing. So you pick that one up. If you want to shift your force towards the A site, you can start to see that the Cypher utility is there if you do use freeing to get in.
There's a potential alt or pickup for DRX as well if they go for it. That could be a second alt online. Freeing goes in to clear the space. Looks for trips as well. You're not quite able to break it, but still, that is going to be space on the A site for DRX.
Yeah, no kill trips hit, but shock dart good on for Bane. You've still got a recon as well for Shiro.
Here comes the incoming hit from Famous now. Hyunmin, though, trying to hold down the line
Ngazan, guys.
around the site plant. Salvo's quickly deployed, but then for Shiro to dance around the corners, his teammates falling all around him.
Oh my god.
Hyunmin in for the double and the missed! A quad picked up almost the ace, but Berserk shuts it down. Hops back on over, and Estrella to recover!
Oh, why are you pulling out your knife there, Berserks? Estrella's already in the site. You got to get ready for that one. What are those shots to come out from Hyunmin? That is absolutely ridiculous.
On from Thrifty down to this one. The man is unstoppable.
Yeah, the fact that Shiro even jumps out of the heavens and is able to find that kill, but look at this from Hyunmin. Like, that is just egregious, man. Quick on the dot crosshair.
And much to Berserk's chagrin, a little bit unfortunate on the final movement play, but that will be something that Boom has to pay for.
Yeah, and now Boom are paying in the eco territory down to the pistols.
Oh, quite literally. But yes, DRX, well, looking a lot more confident now. Can abuse their weaponry.
Yep, as long as you're not leaving the corners unchecked, Marco. Marco!
Surely not. And that's going to be a free kill for Famous. Shiro trying to relay forward, but yeah, still going to bite the dust for that one. NC Slasher back in.
Boom are not a team to be trifled with today, it seems. The shots are still sharp. DRX, some sharpness of their own.
They're looking to close out this, or at least push us into a third map. DRX has got to stay on top.
Yep, the trap wires from Berserk's looking after C and Garage at the moment, so you've got a little bit of a crossfire you might think may be workable into this B site. See if Berserk's wants to try and spot out some information with the body first. Now that Bane will meet with Estrella, might get a little bit more difficult for the likes of DOS9 and Berserk's here.
DOS9 as well, playing the one and done, so no time to pop out the utility.
He's on front,
just
man.
as the cyber cage gets sent over. Bane. You're absolutely right, Komodo. And at this point, it just is going to be the angles being held, I thought, until this pot shots went through.
Yep. Superior weaponry for DRX, getting the job done there.
Famous did get one rifle picked up, though.
Yeah, but he has to get through into the site, and that's going to have to break the trap wire.
Does
so
have a flash to try to find a couple more duels, but nah.
Estrella getting the job done there. Nicely collected upon DRX, though. This is the time that they have to weather another gun round where there's going to be an operator available on the side. And you know how the side of Boom plays the operator. It's going to be for Famous. So this will be a bit interesting. And the smoke blooming. Yep, Shrouder stepped into it. That's what happened there. Good start for DRX, though. 4 on the trot after dropping that pistol.
And appropriately called. Famous now positioning himself towards A-Long alongside Shiro. But DRX elect to go somewhere else.
Yeah, they look to go a little bit quicker in this one. Look at the trips as well. They're going to kind of provide you a little bit of a way in towards the site. An early Hunter's Fury, though, not going to get too much established, or maybe it will. Shiro Berserk's in for one.
Still into it, looking for the sprays against Freeing. Does find it. Additional support from NC Slasher as well, and there it is! The round quickly picked up. A great reaction coming out from Boom.
Yeah. Just not able to see DRX really get into the C side, unfortunately. Sometimes that happens when you go in towards a site where you've got your opponent's Sentinel playing, right? It does happen in this game. You got Hunter's Fury, ult invested from Shiro there, and then just dancing around the site. I feel like Freeing on the Duelist at the moment. Big learning, of course, from that map number 1, but also utility timing, right? Pulls out the blind side as soon as the cage goes down, so a bit unfortunate there for him.
This goes here. This.
And then our desk is going to be pulling their hair out about, but for now at least, Boom happy to pick up on another round. The op still in play, Famous, same spot as before. DRX, though, still avoiding it.
Yeah, Bane has an Armageddon here, by the way. He could clear a lot, or it could be used in a post. Berserks! Berserks! Shut down.
In position, Hyunmin now. Fortunately, it's going to be Shiro who finds a shot through the A-Link position.
And
pulls
quickly
off the drone.
Quickly at 2 versus 2 as well, but remember, Famous is on this operator.
Exactly where
Yeah, but I don't know how useful it's going to be in a position like this. Hyunmin closes in the distance with the Blade Storm, and it's just Shiro to find the duels. The drift on forwards, but Shiro in with the burst, in with the Red Bull clutch to pick the round up for Boom.
Oh, the right click. It is sometimes not safe to go for that one. Untrustworthy, it would seem there. The 1 versus 2 Red Bull clutch to come on through. And again, these rounds, they look just a little bit backwards and forwards, don't they? The fact that Shiro is also able to find Marco to just bring us into that 2-on-2 situation. A neural theft out, right? It makes it quite difficult for Famous to be able to do something with the operator if he's missing a shot. I don't want to... There's a situation here where we're going to have a bit of a Bond moment too, by the way, for DOS9 if he's not able to find a kill. Not having too much luck on this ISO, on these duels at the moment.
Still maybe close to the kill contract. That could help him out. That said, it's going to be Famous currently trying to do what he can with the Outlaw.
Yeah. Some timing, though, for Shiro to see what he can get off this drone. Meanwhile, Garage starts to get scoped out a little bit for the DRX lads. Almost given free of charge. In fact, definitely given free of charge. You got to be a little bit heads up, though, which is why it is being looked after from NC Slasher and now DOS9.
Potential Armageddon as well if they find a little bit more.
Oh, DOS9.
Oh. Shield broken, body human shield as well. And Famous uses that chance to find a kill of his own around A short. Now up to Shiro, spotting out Hyunmin, but oh, look at the updraft. Now Famous getting fully blinded. Will eat a face full of bullets with the stinger from Mako. NC Slasher inside of the smoke. And DRX kind of aware. Playing safer around it. Cyber Cage goes up around him. Hyunmin now eliminating his final teammate. And NC Slasher not able to move, but does spin around to take down Estrella. Looks for the next targets, but close range again. That's when a stinger will pepper him full of holes.
Yeah, some really big shots to come out from a couple of the DRX members in that one to bring that one back from what should have been not really a round of theirs, right? Like the fact that Bane's able to find DOS9 with a ghost, you're getting in, you're dancing around the smoke there as Hyunmin, and you're just still going around the site with the team, setting yourself up to just fight the good fight. Not going to see a tied scoreline here on the 4-4 mark. It'll be DRX still holding the lead. And into the fresh round, Boom, not going to be too well equipped either. So there's a chance here for DRX to try and at least equalize up at the half. Establish a great economy for buys upon buys.
But look at this, Komodo. Boom, now beginning to push out of mid. Looking for an opportunity. Looking for DOS9 to pick up his first kill. It's going to be Berserks instead, outside a garage. DRX looking to reassess the situation with a stealth drone. But at the same time, the smoke's appearing upwards, and then a pot shot through it. What?
Yeah, and these are the sort of situations as well that you just don't want to see them overstep. Famous traded DOS9, I will highlight here, has the kill contract if time starts to be a bit of a problem, but also would just be used to help the team remove a player of DRX for them to fight.
He's looking for the frag, though. All in 4 positions, pops a double tap, and there's the kill contract. Straight into it, Guardian versus Mako. Plays around the angles while his teammates find more on the site. And that's DOS9 picking up the first one. Bane now left alone and cold, desperate measures, and it's going to be Shiro who picks the round up for Boom.
Thrifty to answer that one back for the Boom Esports side. I was talking about trying to, establish your own economy, not having to worry about that going on forwards a little bit. That is ridiculous, by the way. That is illegal. We've had a lot of illegal plays in this series today. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Time out.
Indescribable. I just have no idea.
Yeah. What's the tell? It's just the sixth sense.
Sixth sense. Okay.
Yep, it's just that. 5-4. Timeout out for DRX. Use it for the first half, try and establish an 8-4 lead as well before switching on over to, for them, what might be a little bit more of a disconnected side, given by players rotating out, new agents coming on forward as well. How adept is freeing on this Yoru when we switch it over, for example, right? Marco as well, you know, trying to get some confidence in for him. Feels like he's been shut out on a lot of the duels so far.
Definitely a point worth making, but at the same time, yeah, Yoru is an agent that's, you know, pretty difficult to operate, but onto an official match, needing to pull out whatever you've got, at least a scoreline relatively close between both sides.
Oh, look at the different look though this time for Berserks. Completely changing it up with the front B trap, the A short trap.
Okay.
You know, you're looking at a dimensional drift from freeing. If that goes into the C side of things, well, you're not going to really have too much there by a camera. Oh, look at all the info though.
Okay,
Garage, lots of bodies.
so a lot collected upon by Famous, but at the same time, DRX with a dimensional drift of their own, looking to get a pinch up against Berserks, and they do find it, but Boom, with the information at first hand, will be able to deal with the incoming onslaught, especially inside a garage.
I want to throw like 3 question marks
We're
on
gonna get
that,
to see most of it.
on that freeing exit of the dimensional drift. Yeah, I don't really know about that one, but the fact that that's a good flash to come out from Famous and he gets a second one, the rest of the team picking up where they need to, that's a good look to come out from Famous. Still 5-5. Stingers down for DRX, which means they'll have a buy into the next round, but what are they going to be able to back that one up with? Is it going to be 7-5, 6-6? No ultimates that are really achievable, you might assume, for DRX bar the one the Marco already has. Straight into B though here, Quack.
Sudden quick hit, double tap shield instantly propped, but missing its mark. Bane will be happy to pick that up. Berserks though finding one through the smokes, now trying to see if he can get lucky with a little bit more.
Yeah, and Famous has just walked into the trap wire over at the C long position, by the way, so the flank should be known by DRX now.
Especially with Estrella in towards middle window. So he does spot out the drone, but keeps himself undetected. Meanwhile, NC Slasher beginning to initiate the fights with the paranoia, but Hyunmin quick to receive. Berserks now will be able to look for the trade, especially holding the angles. But look at Mako, somewhat shieldless, but he just crouches underneath. Shiro off towards the races from A-Link. He goes in and guns down a couple more, and it's just Estrella who does get spotted out by Famous at the very end of it all. Boom! Will be able to pick up the lead against DRX.
Yeah, Famous was very focused in on making sure that that later flank, if you want to even call it a flank, for Estrella there was just being catered for, right? Has the idea, kind of cemented that he's playing around the window, but where is he going to peek up? When is he going to peek up? The rest of the team having to try and win these duels on the B side, but it goes a little bit backwards and forwards, right? On the eventual exchanges of the play. Shiro able to do what was needed there, and then the team in the 2 versus 1 getting the defuse. So 6-5, you know, are we going to tie it up where now that DRX have the bye, or is it going to be 7-5 for Boom's lead? A couple more ults swayed on the favor for Boom's side, but you are one away from Hyunmin's blades. Don't know if that's the one that you want to do. Maybe for this, I wouldn't mind seeing Estrella pick up an orb to get the neural theft off a plant or off another kill. Bane, you could contend with an Armageddon as well. That'd be pretty powerful in this sort of situation.
Needing 3 more points for that one, though.
Yeah, and you know what else is powerful? If Boom give you 2 duels towards this A site and you're able to win them. So, if proceedings here as DRX, see if they can win the opening fights.
Good position for NC Slasher, though, and that's when they spring Hunter's Fury as well, and Hyunmin attempting to dodge, but NC Slasher happy to assault them down.
What a great trap play to come out from Boom.
Estrella snuck inside of B with a quick timing on things, takes down Shiro.
And he's one away from the neural theft as well, right? If he's able to achieve it through the cage, the gun barrel spotted. And it's Berserks to throw his hat in.
Absolutely unfortunate. 1v3 for freeing now.
Yep, just get out of there. Don't give him the 1v1s. Play together as a team, reposition.
But he knows he's very much so surrounded. Looking for the spike plant as well, but
he's just been toyed with.
Mako. Shot it, stepped away, freeing beginning to sweat. He's swiping his mouse across the mouse pad so violently, but to no avail.
I mean,
it is 7-5.
That's very laughable from Boom. They're not completely committing to the duel. They're toying with him to make him really just uncomfortable. As I said, I love the play in the beginning from them. NC Slasher and Famous drawing all the attention. A Hunter's Fury to assist. Yes, there's a gap when Shiro gets off that one, but the rest of the team is still at the right angles, at the right positions, at the right times. That's, you know, 4 rounds in a row for Boom Esports to close the half, right? There was a moment in time that the timeout came out from DRX. If they're able to convert that one, they might have been able to stretch out a lead to their own, but they're not able to. And Boom kind of collected on what they needed to do to finish off the half.
Very well balanced and structured. Yes, it's a bit of a...
Are you talking about Teo?
No, not at all. No, but who knows? But, you know, into the first half at the very least, it might be a bit of a lopsided performance for DOS9. Yes, we do have to say that. But because the team is able to, you know, work off of each other that well, you know, playing the macro game, working off of each other.
And I think that's the nail on the head, right? It's the fact that DOS9 is having a bit of an abysmal performance on this ISO, but the rest of the team are still looking pretty coordinated in how they're wanting to make sure that they're just contributing, right?
Yes.
Lots of trades, lots of good information, lots of good takes and space control, but was that just on the defensive side? Now they're going to switch over onto attack, right?
And that's where you would want to see DOS9 pick up the slack quite a bit.
Yeah.
We'll see how it all continues to shake up, because this is still a Boom that is looking to be very structured. And if they do pick this win up, it would mean, you know, still currently a flawless run and also taking down the giants of DRX.
Yep. The kickoff winners.
Yes.
Still cursed with the 5 to 6 placements. Pistol round. Mid, the name of the game for Boom. And you got a bit of forward positions from the DRX lads over at A. Gonna send Bane away. Just leave it there for freeing, as there's a trap wire that you got to contend with at the front side of this site. But once you get through that, if you get through that,
I thought the clone tripped it, but
guys,
it's gonna be Famous, and they haven't quite dealt with it just yet. So a free kill for Mako, but still NC Slasher to trade. Now Hyunmin chiming in as well, and that's where the numbers begin to become overwhelming. Just NC Slasher alone.
Shadows traveling.
removes one angle with a smoke,
but has to contend with the others. Close range, looking for the right click, but Hyunmin quick on the draw.
First pistol round of the series for DRX found there. I'm saying, you know, if we're going to break the trap wire, because that got that trap wire got a hell of a lot of work done. I'll be real. A couple of tags up, some pings up as well, and Hyunmin again, kind of having a bit of a sensational series with the shots that he's able to achieve here and the multi-frags that he's being able to find regardless of scoreline. Trying to drag the team through the mud, it feels like, at times in this one. No force up for Boom, no plant, no real damage. Just going to take this one for what it is, have a chat, see what damage we can deliver with the pistols.
So just looking to storm a garage, throw bodies into it, but pretty soon looking to become a bit of a drowning pool. DRX, happy to flood the whole site full of bullets. Stingers at hand through the smoke. Mako looking to reposition around that recon. But as the spike looks to get planted, Mako will continue to spray. The spike still at least getting planted down.
Yeah, it's a little bit cheeky that the fact that they're able to do that as well. Doesn't matter that they all lose their lives, because we know that the guns are going to be present in the next round anyways. Maybe we'll see some sort of adjustment from DRX now that they are going to be on the bonus round, right? If Australia wants to do standard Cypher things and put the utility maybe more towards the C site. You know, one of these fabled things for the composition that Boom are running. You know, you like to do a sort of C split take, especially when a Teo doesn't have, you know, an Armageddon and can't just lock you in long. We'll see what sort of proceedings Boom are going to look for if they want to eventually go for this C take.
Still rather early, but so far we've been seeing how, you know, the Cypher trips have been a really big point for DRX.
Yeah, there's a lot of options that Australia has to be available to do on this C site, to give himself options rather. Already taken a lot of damage,
but the trips survive.
Yeah, and the regen shields as well. Now it'll come down to DRX's slight adjustments, another gate crash to come out from freeing, as he did get over to the C site to assist.
Hyunmin inside of Cubby as well.
Yeah. he might be able to find something good here. I mean, does have a Vandal in play. Information starting to be accumulated by Bane, but an immediate destruction of that drone. You're calling for some assistance. A bit of a shift from Australia over there. And freeing as well. Complete removal of DRX's forces. And I mean,
hovering over.
You understand it, right? They are on the bonus rounds. You want to get some cheeky shots on out, which Bane is not going to be able to do.
Quick with the salvos though, and it does stall them somewhat, especially with the stun now, taking down Famous. Still though, Boom not slowing down outside of the smokes, but quickly hit by the stingers. Now Mako with a Spectre, Spike on the ground.
Unfortunately for that one, no one was able to assist Famous when he got in towards the site, and there was the stun. A lot of the time not afforded for Boom to really slow that one down. Bit one-dimensional, having all your numbers try and get up there together as well.
10 seconds left.
So this means it's going to be the bonus rounds, going the way of DRX, going to grab some upgrades of weapons as well.
Which is very lovely if you're on the side of DRX, but for Boom, off to the save. Not fantastic on the economy. And still looking to really connect the dots onto this attacking side. We have yet to see DOS9 on the board, and also for the entire team to really recollect into a full game plan.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a very different look on how the attack has to be played for Boom as well, right? When you compare to the previous agent set that they were running, right? Famous on the Neon and getting set up by NC Slasher and Shiro in certain different points.
The round begins with salvos, but also a couple of Boom players snuck right past by.
Yeah, I'm not too worried for
11-7 bro DRX.
You know, they should be able to stave off any full aggressions. Still got stun available.
Drone receiving info.
And Boom as well with the lesser equipped buy. They're not a team that is just going to send that one straight at you. They are playing on the more
understandable, but
side of patience.
Boom looking to close in the distance, so A-Short would be a choice, but still.
Wah, gua habis live ini langsung tidur
That
kayaknya.
hit now calls for them
Ngantuk
to
kali ya
rotate
rasanya.
somewhere else.
Yeah. And DRX don't have anyone down C long either here, so they're just playing towards the strengths and numbers. And Boom want to take the fight towards C. Well, it's just going for a bit of a retake.
Or to have Mako somewhere nearby to thin those numbers down even further.
Yeah, we'll have to see with 40 seconds to go what Boom want to do. That was really risky from Berserks and ill-advised.
But also good reactions coming out from Estrella, who, again,
Oh.
newly slotted into the team. But as we say that, thinking about
3 by
Mako
3.
and Yunmin, somehow they fall. That's going to be the sight and the spike planted down. Famous with the weapon
One
picked
more.
up, looking to convert the whole round. Triple kill, what?
Crazy, that is crazy. How have they been able to pull that one back?
4K,
Famous
bro,
individual shots
4K,
coming on up into
bukan
the dark cover. The
2K.
risk to even plant at the back of sight. Yeah, you got the idea. They didn't clear over the long. It's a dirty position, but that's an opening kill and a second opening kill. That's a 3 versus 5 conversion from Boom Esports on a half buy. Gets them the first round on the board for their attacking side.
You're not supposed to do that, man.
No, you're not. Now there might actually be a bit of an early challenge towards the C side of things with Hyunmin and with Australia, but Famous to immediately dimensional drift on in, get the information. And look at that, the trap has been spotted.
And Estrella not quite able to put down the second trip either. So Famous just keeping them under pressure. Flashes out as well, but sprayed through by Estrella. Now for DOS9 to meet his mark, does find one, and then pulls off the kill contract.
Wah, 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 wah,
still
wah,
undetected,
wah, wah,
finds
wah.
a couple! Into the kill contract,
Wah,
but at
wah,
this
what the
point,
hell is that, guys?
no avail. Berserks!
Berserks has just done everything. He's around the site when the team is getting destroyed by Marco. The dimensional drift pulling one in from DOS9 that he loses it. The only situation that Boom win that round is if Berserks finds every
Yo,
single
Boom
kill
Esport.
when the
Dua
team
map aja
dies,
Boom
and he
Esport.
does. This
Nggak
guy
usah 3.
has bad maps, but it's the maps that he
Ngantuk
does
ini,
great
ngantuk ini.
things on that you always remember. Just look at him around the site, individual duels upon individual duels, and then the immediate onto Bane when he's out of the gulag.
Unbelievable.
How have they come away with that? 2 individual rounds, first from Famous, now from Berserks.
It was just full contact into C as well. Beginning with the dimensional drift, which did do quite a bit. So next round coming up.
And it doesn't look too stellar for DRX, does it? Australia with a Vandal, some Stingers,
Boom,
Sheriff,
boom, boom,
a
boom.
Shorty for freeing.
Holding on to his trips as well in case there are any shock darts coming through. So still looking for Boom now, who have been switching up the pace a little bit. We're looking at Garage.
See if you can overwhelm Australia. You do hear the Vandal, so there might be a bit of a trap that you got to play off and be careful of. Though Hyunmin, don't tell me we're going to have another situation where someone's not clearing the corner because no one's looking for it at the moment. It's eyes on the choke point in front of B.
They're hearing the cam as well, so trying to be careful of it.
Oh, it's all the bait. It's all the bait.
Yeah, bait and switch play, freeing out to scout everything.
And legitimately, the wide idea would have been for them to get
out with a stinger, and now the salvo's coming through. And Slasher trying to fend them off, hide into a safer position.
But there's no other duels that are coming on the back of that one, unfortunately. The only way that works is if you got the duels close. And unfortunately, it was the spike held by Shiro that is in an almost unobtainable position if you didn't have a From the Shadows to go and pick it up as NC Slasher. So you get in towards the site, you look to bring it into a one-player deficit, but the retake's here now.
The Outlaw kill. He gets ahead of the Armageddon as well, but Mako finds him instead. NC Slasher now with the weapon, looking to play around the smoke, maybe a bit of an anti-flash, and it makes it work! He finds a triple at the end of the round, and that's Boom up to 10!
Oh boy, I thought that NC Slasher's Nikes were heard there, Quack. I thought that they'd heard him stomp back up towards the dark cover, and that was not going to work. If anybody walked into him at that spot, they would have been able to just get him, and the round may well have not gone their way. That's an unfortunate team block, by the way, but Famous sticking it to him, getting 2 with the Outlaw back, and then just a little crossfire at the end there. DOS9 not even really needed. That is huge. How are we getting these insane rounds from Boom Esports to bring this back, to make it look doable in 2?
Absolutely ridiculous. They're doing the unthinkable. Just down to these little individual plays, hiding around the smokes, playing anti-flash.
That's another conversion, by the way, from Boom, where they're down a 3 versus 5. Like, it's a 3 versus 5, man. That shouldn't happen.
Not at all. Looking at them, you wouldn't have thought that this was a team coming up from Ascension. Not just an Ascended team, they play second. They've come into Pacific here, and they look like they just belong.
Now they do in this stage, yeah. Kickoff, I mean,
sure,
a little bit of a different story.
They challenged T1.
They challenged T1. A lot of people would say they should have won that game. But now it's, you know, kind of undeniable, right? You've got the win against Gen G, the win against GE, the win against Paper X. You've qualified for playoffs, and now you're playing a DRX who, I mean, I'll throw an asterisk on them, right? It's not like this is a series that is a playoff qualification game or something like that that would really showcase Boom's strengths, but it is still DRX. These players are still cracked.
It still is that story.
Yep. And now into a C site where there's nobody home. It's a straight out play.
Boom Esports menuju ke C side.
He's hoping someone
C set
walks
kosong.
towards it, but a Honey's Fury out from Shiro.
Slow convergent shield as well.
Famous
nice.
Nice.
Get a little bit safer, and Famous happy to greed for 1. Do have Berserks watching for any potential flanks as well.
Yep.
This is going to be a tough retake for DRX.
Yeah, for sure. No dimensional drift for freeing either, remember? Because he used that in the previous one to get them that advantage that was lost.
So all of them just looking to explode out of
Boom.
C-Link, possibly in with the flashes, but lo and behold, Shiro right inside. He springs like a snake, and with the headshot, stunned up as well! Finds the triple, Famous for the last boom.
What happened, guys?
11.
Berapa sih dari tadi, bro?
To a quick one into the C site where Hyunmin doesn't get a chance to even fight because he's just sprayed through the smoke by Famous, who once again is having a great performance. It's NC Slasher up there with him as well. It's not always, you know, individuals, but with Boom, it feels like at moments it's Famous.
At moments, it's NC Slasher. This moment, it was Shiro.
Yeah.
Inside the smoke.
Everybody getting a piece of a pie, but it's a full house between the two. That's on the back of a timeout, by the way, and you're starting to really feel for DRX now. A lesser buy. They don't convert this one. It's 12 for Boom, and it's 4 map points.
Hyunmin with the blades.
Gotta go big.
Sepertinya mereka udah tahu Boom bakalan ke
info.
C. Jadi Cypher udah masang
Despite being fully blinded, he actually takes Famous down.
Gets the refresh.
Paranoia sent out as well.
Do they expect Marco behind this double stack?
Straight in behind. Maybe not quite just yet, but still the damage will be done. Hyunmin going big with the blades. A triple found in the round, and the spike scattered to the wind.
As I said, didn't get a chance in the last round to have a fight. This time, when he's given one, and he has vision on the opponent, able to destroy.
Even without vision, he took down Famous. Yeah, ridiculous. Now just Berserks with 50 seconds to go.
And spotted.
Gauge is up. I mean, do you look for the save? You try.
Your money as a team is okay.
Ooh.
Okay. So, yeah, not quite.
Drifted. So, DRX hold on. It's 2 rounds the difference as well. You know, these are the sort of situations where if you're not balancing your economy, it could end the map as well. Great little ducking and diving around the site from Marco from Hyunmin to get all the shots. Just put yourself in a situation where your Boom can't really shoot at you. And you do hold on. So the 4 in a row that Boom found to put them in a situation where they were looking pretty good to close this one will be held off. Now though, directional drift for Famous can pivot for a lot of information on this A side if they want to use it early.
DRX trying to play it round to round as well, recognizing this. So with the current player's position now, freeing.
Yeah, this is cheeky, but spotted.
Breaks
Has
the
to get
camera.
out.
Drone out from Bane.
I wonder, Quack, do they expect Famous to already have gone up through long? When you hear a drone going through garage,
Ciro ngedrone.
I'd imagine, at the
Chen.
very least with the players there,
Market
maybe
ya guys
put
ya,
a
market
roadblock,
kucing guys.
barring Famous, who might be able to slip past.
oh, there's still the camera.
Oh,
Bit of a difference though. Traces through the wall. Not going to do
Phantom.
too much at that point in time.
Berserks is
This is
gonna win that
where
exchange a little bit.
you would expect Famous to dimensional drift into the A site and start to get all the information for the team to go get it together. Berserks, remember, happy to play Lurk in this sort of scenario.
Bane, this is where he's got to do something. He does have the utility. Kind of sends it through and will find and collect it towards Famous.
Wow.
Hyunmin and Estrella all arriving at the right time, right place.
Yeah, quite unfortunate. And now the flank from Australia up close and personal to Shiro.
Okay.
30 seconds left.
Slightly whizzed right past by.
Yep, but I don't know of the universe that we live in where Shiro found a 1 versus 5. So
Not the most likely, but if he does find 1 kill, that's going to be Hunter's Fury. Well, it still is a 1vx. At least begins with a shock dart and tries to position himself for more opportunities. Holds the angle, does find the first, backs off into the next, and it came close.
If he found freeing there somehow and had a 1 versus 1 against Marco, and the Hunter's Fury is there, Marco would have had to come out with the big clutch, and that
would have been his 20th.
Oh, why does it sometimes make it workable? Famous, though, unfortunately not able to get that opener, and the rest of the team falling like flies.
Come on,
Red
boom.
and quickly rotated
Dua lagi,
by
boom, dua lagi, dua lagi.
DRX.
No, Big Time did say that this might be the game of the season, or well, for the group stage, but
Big call.
I will say it is absolutely delivering currently. Timeouts being forced out from both sides, but this is just the first one being called out from Boom.
Yeah, 11 to 10. Deep in the map where a decisive blow, you know, can kind of end it, right? If Boom are able to at least get 12, they give themselves a breath to have the overtime as a saving grace if it's needed, if DRX come back, because they're starting to also figure out a rhythm on their own, right? These rotations on this defensive side, the crossfires that they're able to get. When Boom are kind of red, when DRX know where it's ending, they've had a little bit more success, of course, on rotating early enough to make it a good contest and more often than not win them. But if it's the early explosions from Boom that are a little bit more unexpected, DRX haven't really been able to weather it. So this is a sort of situation where we have seen on the back of timeouts for Boom a lot that they do just kind of have a discussion, have a decision, and really explode quickly.
This goes here.
The weaponry, though, doesn't really permit for that, does it? So might actually look to be a little bit quieter, where if you're quietly going into an angle, and it's going to be the C site judging by the positions of Boom, you're going to hear that Dragon roar.
Or the wolf.
Boom lagi nih.
But still, they've got some ultimates and they could do
Let's see the dragon.
possibly anything.
It roared.
Oh, they're-
Now they know Hunman's got the operator over at C, and they're trying to hunt his fury him out when it's a jet player.
So not quite able to find him in just yet, but still deploying it nonetheless. Armageddon being baited out by DRX as well, so that could aid Boom in some of the future rounds. But at least for now, DRX happy to slay all of them in full until DOS9 and Shiro find a couple for themselves. Shiro up for the triple. Just Mako left all of a sudden with a switch. Mako eliminates Shiro for now.
And it's
just
DOS9.
DOS9 has to come up huge. 1v1, he swings out.
Nice, dude. Come on. Gue nggak mau nih sampai map 3 nih.
Finds the burst. Thrifty round picked up by Boom to reach map and series points.
What did I say? When they turn it up a little bit, they somehow make it work, but not like that, man. Not like that. That's ridiculous that they're even able to get into the site. I mean, you've got the rotations here, you've got Bane finding stuff, you've got Freeing finding stuff. It's a 3 versus 5 again that goes the way of Boom! And DOS9, a player who has really not been here in this map to close that 1v1 clutch against Mako, one of our leaders in Pacific on the clutches.
What's going on?
It's now series point for Boom.
It's 2025, that's what it is. Boom, kicking things off with a lot of C presence.
Yeah, and rotations.
Altorp's picked up, then that's DOS9 with kill contract.
Don't know how trusting you are of that one though, Quack,
Fair enough, but it
going
does
in.
remove a player away. So kill contract pushed through, and it does capture on towards Estrella. Paranoia sent out as well, which buys a little bit of time. DOS9 will crack and fall. A little bit of a stumble, and that could be a chance for DRX to climb back.
Bring for some information, down on low HP right now. Scattered to the wind is NC Slasher.
Really low, but it's Bane. He hops on over, swaps it to Shorty. Bucky in hand, tries to shroud step away. Salvo's even thought about.
Oh, what is happening? NC Slasher's still here. Bane
holding the off ankle, and he will slay him down. Hopping midair, and with this position found, that could very well be Spike, but the rest of DRX look to prevent it from happening up towards a link.
Nice.
Flash comes out. Famous, what are you? This flames up in lights, and it's just down Estrella alongside Mako, who comes in from the back.
Yeah, the dark cover, he's got one available to try and assist, to try and help Estrella.
No.
Taking him down, 2-on-1 now. NC Slasher, he's done so much before. Can he do it again at half HP? Spotted up towards the top, but still working around the edge of this smoke.
It'll fade soon.
It's Mako that he has to look out for. The wall bang punches through!
Oh man, those trades that come on through. I mean, that duel in heaven felt like it lasted centuries, I almost feel like, but the fact that the gate crash out from Famous is just not expecting Mako to be that quick
Halo
on
bang,
the flank.
halo hehe,
That one looks a
halo
little bit rough there, not gonna lie, and DOS9 in the kill contract's not really working. Maybe needs to pull a page out of Meteor's book and shift to the right side instead of the left side that he's been favoring. So we go the distance here on map number 2 of Haven in this series. 12-11 and still in favor of Boom, but DRX are knocking hard on that door to push us into overtime.
The final round though, where Arsenal not quite there.
Big stack of 3 towards the C site. Trips in towards the front of B that you can hope to spam through if Boom go there. And some information to be accumulated that Long is currently free of Boom presence.
Oh,
spans through. Just in with a clone.
Timing yang sangat
response from
membangunkan ya.
Estrella.
Yeah, a little bit red in there, unfortunately. When you've cleared every other angle, that's kind of where you expect Boom to be.
Forming to the next angles. Right there, Mako fully flashed in towards Shiro, but NC Slasher will find the trade. Hyunmin now up top though, and in with a Neurothreat, which does reveal his position, but he has the tailwind ready. DOS9 now coming up online, does find the first. It looks for the next.
Nice.
He gets it. 2-on-2.
Again,
let's go.
another 2 versus 2 situation. DOS9 still has a contingency wall.
And the double tap
Boom,
online.
boom,
Gonna
boom.
play together.
Itu jangan TP udah mati ya.
Retake for DRX.
Pomos.
Salvos and flashes ready.
There goes contingency. Aggression.
A bit more space. DOS9 looks to get sneaky. Looks for the flicks, but not quite there. Freeing pushes into overtime, and the Korean crowd erupts.
Extra time, Cuk.
Oh boy, that one was cheeky. Freeing's able to get the 2 down there. You'd expect a quick shots out from the Outlaw, because DOS9, he wanted to get close with that one on the back of the contingency. Would it have been better for them to play a little bit more passive?
Switching sides. Oh.
Maybe.
Would have been. Definitely feeling DOS9 hungry for a lot more, though.
Yeah, he was
not satisfied with his performance.
He was getting the shots in that round, just, you know, not able to find that last one at the end there, a bit too aggressive. And we go into overtime.
It's one of these scenarios where you find yourself in that spot, but as a player, you want to do so much more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Got to work with the team. So we will kick things off with the first OT.
You'd feel like as well for Boom, how they've really made this last half look. Now that it's gone in towards overtime.
It is a situation that Boom are not unfamiliar with, though. They did contend against Gen.G in overtime, where they did win out as well. So starting things off on the defense, you've got Famous marching all the way down mid.
Yeah, but will it have been expected or not? DOS9 to try and assist it on out.
Oh, with the undercut as well. It's going to do a little bit of assistance, but down to it at the end. DOS9 not able to stand tall.
Ya elah, bro.
Full support from the crowd here at Coex Stadium.
Map ketiga, guys.
I mean, it's S-Flex, but still off to the next. Hyunmin will be able to deliver.
And DRX set themselves up for the map victory. You'd be reeling if you're Boom here after what you thought should be your map. And you get into the third. I mean, these shots to come on out, not really tradable properly for the Boom guys. DRX really quick with it. And DOS9 caught out on the ISO, you know, pulling out util.
I'm absolutely losing my mind as well, thinking about DRX. Yes, we are here in S-Flex, and DRX definitely looking to push us into a third map.
Can Boom answer back, though, on this attacking side? Bit of long aggression. Oh, an awkward spray, but Freeing is still able to escape. Look at the cavalry, though. DRX are already marching back towards the A site.
Gate Crash contended with as well. Bit of HP losses on both sides. Full force is going through past the smokes, in with the stun and the flash out from Boom. A lot of exchange and utility, but Boom, undeterred, continues to push forward. DOS9 taken down. Bit of a trade coming out from Mako, and he continues to hold the off angle. Double found Hyunmin there, and that's gonna be 14-12. We are going to map number 3.
Yeah, Hyunmin has really had a performance in that map.
Tiga juga akhirnya, guys.
Multi-frags upon multi-frags are really what has delivered the goods for DRX time and time again.
Aduh. Sama 3 juga, bro.
Individuals are on an individual streak, and no one is stepping up. It does falter.
Yeah, it starts to fizzle out, and this is also a scenario which might be somewhat unfamiliar to Boom, being on the opposite end of the home crowd right now. Back in Ascension, they had the entire Indonesian crowd cheering for them against SPG, now Nongshim Red Force. But against DRX, it's a whole different beast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really got to think for Boom as well. They were getting a rhythm on for the second half, figuring out exactly which way to turn it on around and stuff. But DRX, they were always giving what felt like a really good challenge in a lot of those rounds. It was going, 1-for-1, all of the trades getting really close down to the wire. But I just keep seeing in my memory all of those rounds that were coming on through. Who was getting activated on the side for DRX? Hyunmin. Always Hyunmin.
Without a doubt, top fragger for the team currently. We're seeing some assistance from the likes of Estrella and possibly maybe a little bit from Freeing as well, but without a doubt, a lot of it comes down to Hyunmin.
Yeah, Marco as well, a little bit there too.
That said, though, Boom are definitely being tested right now. We will see what happens on the very final map as we toss it back over to our desk to break this down.
We are going to a map 3. We very nearly thought this was going to end. This was going to be the final map and it was going to go Boom's way. But those final rounds for DRX, just really goes to show that they have that experience, they have that mentality as well to be able to reset, especially in very, very crucial rounds. And this is unfortunately where Boom tends to falter.
Yeah, I mean, what an electric game. I mean, that was as close as it could get. And you know, this is, in a way, sort of vintage Boom. I feel like they should have closed out that map and then they didn't manage to do it. And now we're going to go to a map 3, which is scary for me if I'm Boom. So I'm a little bit worried, but what a game from DRX, what a game from Hyunmin. I mean, that was a joy to watch.
Hyunmin just put the team on his back, some absolutely ridiculous rounds in that game. Boom definitely missed a trick there. Famous, pretty decent performance on the Yoru, but they've done both of the GOATs dirty. Both teams in this game. You've thrown Freeing on a Yoru again. It's not gone well. You've thrown DOS9 on the ISO. There was a couple of rounds at the end of the game where he started fragging, and I was like, okay, he's had a bad game, but he's just going to win them the game here. And then it didn't happen. I was like, oh man, that's just egregious. Like, unfortunate.
I mean, if you look at the bottom half of those kind of, you know, leaderboards, right? You look at the bottom half there, you see some parts that just don't really mix.
Can we just stop for a second? Have you added one for every map today?
Yes. If you ask me how many maps have we played today, just the answer is right in front of you.
Oh my god.
5 maps. This means that I have to add another one, though. Oh no?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, like, no, because it's like 5. No, it's 5 maps and then it's the post show. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Let's see. I think there's some room over here, but we'll get to that later. First things first, though, we are going into Ascent.
Yeah.
We are going into the ultimate reset for both of these teams. And right now, it seems like DRX, they are on a high because I saw in those final rounds, Bane being that vibe merchant, really just cheering the whole team. He was standing up, he was pumping his fist up in the air, going over to Mako, smiling and yelling something at him, and then Mako just smiling and agreeing. Yeah. That's when I knew actually there was like, oh, DRX is going to take this because you saw the energy on that side of the stage versus Boom, who were very reserved.
The crowd was getting really pumped up as well. They were really cheering on DRX, but those vibes would never have come to fruition if it wasn't for Hyunmin in this game. Some absolutely ridiculous rounds, some of which we'll replay here. It starts with this classic.
He should never win this.
You should never get away with that. If that is not a reason to buy the DRX Classic, then I do not know what is. And he just continued on a tear. This was a disgusting round as well. This man's individual skill and mechanics are so, so good. And you see that really set the tone for such a tight game that went to 12-12 and went to OT. Yeah. It would never have even been the case if Hyunmin wasn't putting this entire team on his back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he played such an unbelievable game. 32 kills, I think it was. This is Hyunmin from kickoff. This is prime kickoff Hyunmin, where he was the top of all the statistics.
Well, won it in his rookie season. I mean, ridiculous stuff from him. Right from his first game, you could tell that DRX were onto something. I remember him whipping out the Raze on Lotus, and he just continued on a bit of a tear. If Jemkin didn't exist, he might have been the best duelist inside of kickoff. And in terms of if you're one of those people that factors your placement in the overall tournament into how good you were, then he's probably the best duelist from kickoff.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say, and this very much felt like we were watching kickoff level Hyunmin in this match. You say he put the whole team on his back. If he doesn't come up with those big hero rounds, this game doesn't go to OT and DRX lose 2-0. An obvious map MVP.
I mean, he was amazing. There were so many rounds, as you guys mentioned, that he was the only one performing on many of those rounds. But I do want to ask, though, how do we feel about the experimentation on both sides, on both DRX and for Boom? How are we feeling about this as we go into map 3? Do we want more of this?
I mean, so I'll address that in 2 parts. I don't love the experimentation here because their Haven was so successful before. But now do I want to see experimentation on Ascent? A little bit, yes, because it got countered by PRX. What they were doing was a little gimmicky with the Phoenix in a way. I like it a lot, but it doesn't have too many layers to it. So if PRX were able to counter it, I feel like DRX might have the answer. So I would like to see some more innovation on Ascent, but it has to look better than it did in this map.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about experimentation. Famous, again, we've been talking about players playing agents for the first time in this series. This is Famous's first game on Yoru. He's a player that in the past has been criticized for a small agent pool. In the Neon meta, he wasn't playing much Neon until the end of Ascension when he finally did whip it out in the finals against SVG, and he's been playing a little bit of Neon. In fact, I think in the last 90 days, he's played 7 out of the 9 games of Neon in his entire career. So this year has been finally where Famous is starting to be a little bit more flexible. in terms of his agent pool. And for a first game on Yoru, that was actually very, very solid with them whipping out the Yoru ISO. It was actually kind of DOS who struggled on the ISO, but you said you'd probably prefer to see him on the Yoru, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I know that he can play Yoru to a high standard. I would have liked to see that and then have Famous just open up, be able to frag a little bit more freely on that ISO, but you know, it didn't manage to click in that game for DOS. We definitely saw him getting a slow start. I think he was like, you know, 3-12 or something at one point.
ISO's that snowball agent. If you have a bad start, it's going to be rough for you. I mean, you're not even pointing just to him. Like, I picked freeing as my flex, and it's not gone much better. I thought, here's what I thought. I picked freeing because I've gone, surely DRX are putting Bane in, so that we're going to play double initiator today. Freeing's going to be on Teo every game. He's going to dominate the entire league. He's going to be the best player in the world. Never mind, he's playing Yoru every game, and I'm getting no points.
I support you there because, hey, I also have freeing in my team. So, yeah, this was unexpected. And, yeah, lots of experimentation, but, I mean, he was giving you fair warning a while ago, I feel. He was like drifting down. He was like, hey, Morgan, maybe not today.
That was a bad omen. That was a very bad omen.
It was like, maybe not today, Morgan. But you're like, no.
I believed. It's fine. We got one more map where we can turn it around. But we talk about that double duelist, the Ascent, you know, what both these teams have played in the past. Do you expect DRX to pull out double duelist here?
Well, yeah, this is the interesting thing, right? We've seen two different looks from them. We've seen the single duelist with the double E on the Sova and the Teo, and I believe that was freeing Bane before Estrella comes into the lineup. The second one is flashback on the Yoru with the Hyunmin on the other duelist, which is what we've seen most of the time for DRX throughout this tournament. And then you get Estrella actually coming in and playing the Sentinel role, which was what we've seen throughout. So I think DRX, I definitely prefer them to play singular duelist. I've seen enough freeing on Yoru to make me sick at this point. For Boom, I really think it is concerning. I don't know if they can run the Phoenix again. It has its limitations. It's one of those things where this is the special thing about Valorant. You load into the agent select screen and you can see something completely new from your opponent, and if you are not adaptable and you can't figure out how to play against that on the fly, you will lose the game. But then that power fades away when you go into the next week or you go into the next opponent, the next competition, where you've seen what the comp does very well and you can pick apart what it does badly, and that's exactly what PRX did against Boom the last time they played this map.
Yeah, that's what makes me concerned. Like, all the answers to this composition are out there from PRX now. So if you run this again, I need to see what's changed for Boom. How have you plugged those holes that PRX were able to exploit? So you're okay to run the same comp, but innovate within that. Fix your own mistakes within that. That will be very important. But I also think they could just swap back to something a little bit more standard. We could just see Famous go back to Jet, where he's been so strong, where he can use the off a little bit more freely. I would be very down for that, but honestly, I have no idea what to expect from him right now.
I mean, I think, you know, something like that is, it can only work once. And then once you do it, it's not going to happen again. But looking at where both of these teams are at this point in the stage, I feel like going into Ascent, they're going to experiment a bit more. They're not going to be like, oh, it didn't work, let's just double back. I feel like they're going to do it even more because this is the prime time for them to be able to experiment.
Alrighty, we'll see in terms of agents what these teams are going to be bringing out. DRX are sticking to their guns yet again, freeing on the Yoru for the third map in a row. Hyunmin on the primary duelist, and they're keeping the majority of the rest the same. Bane on Teo yet again.
Boom are playing the sort of what we would call the updated meta comp. So we have Sova, but Teo as the other initiator, Vice swapping out for the Killjoy, the most meta, and of course, Yoru instead of the Jet for Famous.
It's one of my favorite comps at the moment. The way RRQ play it is fantastic. They also get to start defense here. Keep in mind, guys, DRX has chosen to start attack here on Ascent, so they have got to have a good game plan and get off to the races here.
Well, I think that is exactly what they're going to do, but let's see if Boom can manage to make a comeback as we head into Ascent, our final map of the day. We're going to toss it on over to your casters, Whack and Komodo.
Thank you very much, Mika. Big time. And Pilski, yes, this is going to be down to Ascent, where Boom will definitely get tested. A map which DRX has been known to innovate things. They played this last week against Global, and it looked darn near great.
Yeah, I mean, for Boom, right, like, this is a different look, though, right?
Very different.
Like, Famous, is he going to be able to play the Yoru the same way? They're ultimately getting up to choke points and then popping on out. Not really, you know, it's a single duelist on this look where you're not actually getting any camera information as well from a Sentinel, for example, like Berserks is moving on towards his Vice. And DRX already starting off with a Estrella solo, essentially, towards this B site.
Yeah, striding in. He might find himself pinned down somewhat, though, and the salvos will flush him out of position. So kill quickly found back from Famous.
NC Slash Up does have to think better of just sticking out in the open for this duel. Wants to spot out what he can with the drone. And this is where it comes down to a bit of this mid-round decision-making.
Famous stuck down now, especially with the flash at hand. Berserk's trying to bail him out, but unfortunately smoked off. And quick to the smokes from Mako as well. Now you've got CT blocked off.
Are you going to keep your 100% ascent pistol rate for DRX so far? Or is it going to falter here and you lose this 4 versus 3 advantage that you have, sniffing out the rest of the site, that no one is there? Now it's going to shift into post plan.
No more util, at least until the salvos come back up. But Boom looking to gather a little bit more space, starting off with DOS9, who he knows he's been having a rough game. Trying to step up now. Flash out, trying to push on forward. Re-smoked stairs though, and that makes things a little bit more tricky. DOS9, additional support, smokes off Boathouse, but that's when they double peek together. Bane in for the trades, Hyunmin for the next. DOS9 now out from stairs, 1-on-2. Plays up around Dice. Wait, self-salvo just to bait him out. He had no idea. Bane, what was that?
Cheeky. Not gonna lie, cheeky. You want to try and contend and dance the dance around the dice? Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that. The floor is lava.
It's gamer IQ.
Opening one though, Shiro caught with some utility in hand, and Famous caught in a reload, I believe it was, in that one. Regardless, DRX picking up the pistol here. A good idea in how they want to navigate that one. And they will look to extend things out. I mean, you gotta... I'm hoping that, you know, Boom were able to shrug off the tail end of Haven, rather.
Certainly have to. Spot that, well, they should be familiar with playing against Vapor X just before. They did suffer a bit of a loss in between the first and third map, but now you've got Freeing with just the Ghost to make a bit more noise. Tries to walk on forward, get crashes away.
Yep, using himself as a human drone.
Boom are thinking twice now about fully rotating on over. They will still hover around the A site though. DRX not making a single peep.
It's not a bad idea. You've just got the lesser pistols. You do it in numbers. You try to, you know, steal around like that one. Try and maybe not get everybody spot out by the stealth drone that goes in towards the site. One player in hell. DOS9 might have been spotted, Jenny.
Okay.
Nope, never mind.
Wow, he actually managed to get away from it.
Can they get both guns though? That is the question right now. One towards the generator, the other one towards short when they go for the rotation back towards B.
I believe they should be able to, yeah, pick one up at the very least. DOS9 in with the Vandal, but as soon as Berserk tries to peek on forward, it's going to be Bane that takes him down. Now Estrella marking down the further rotations. A little bit whiffed over on the Thorns, but still, nonetheless, smoked off. And that allows for DRX to get the spike down somewhat safely until DOS9 attempts at something of his own.
It's got to be DOS, doesn't it?
Has to. Additional support from NC Slash on that very lovely delivery, well, specially delivered.
Yeah, and the salvos to buy enough time to try and start to get this plant down as well.
Yikes. Okay. Dicey situation, but DOS9 for the wide swing. Does suffer a bit of a tag, but in with the support. Unfortunately falls. That's the rifle gone, but Famous still picking things up. Close range now, pistol for pistol. Wait until Famous picks up the Guardian. Estrella looking for the timing onto it. Will find it at the end. And once again, the Korean faithful support their favorite team.
Yep, the crowd is certainly elevated today in this series. They're happy that we've got a pretty good one, I would say, in the comeback on the last map for DRX. I'll call it a comeback because I thought that Boom probably were looking to close it out. A couple of good shots and allocations into this round for the DRX guys as well. My early one on Berserk's pushing short to try and get some other timing or retrieve weaponry, and a little bit awkward there that he gives himself up. Because you think about that, if that was a proper 5 versus 3 on the retake, it probably could have gone Boom's way.
Very close to it, at least.
Yeah, now it's going to be the buy-up for Boom. It's going to be the bonus for DRX. Straight up. Going to be dealt with accordingly quick.
For the punish. Hyunmin, though, trying to get ahead as well, but now with the shear wall tripped up, this gives Boom a bit of a chance. Berserk's to hold the off angle, Sheer with the additional support. Even with the blind side, it doesn't phase them.
Yeah.
Just Bane left, and only a Ghost.
Only needed for the one, though. That's the thing there. Good aggression from Boom that time, not scared away from any of those duels, getting in front of a little bit of that utility that DRX are trying to throw their way. But all in all, these are the sort of rounds that we do wait for, right? The ebb and flow of map like Ascent, especially just any game of Valorant, the big rifle rounds. And for me as well, when the ultimates aren't really there yet, because it's going to be some good ideas, some good coordination and adjustments.
Well, the odds are going to come up soon enough.
Yeah,
especially
I mean,
keeping our eyes on Bane and Estrella.
Yeah, Bane one away from the Armageddon. Though this time a challenge in towards A main for the Boom squad.
Bane and Estrella repeatedly creating pressure around B main, trying to keep Boom honest. But yes, A main in contention, in with a salvo. NC Slasher for the peak.
And now you've got numbers, so you don't necessarily need to sacrifice anything as Boom.
Successful trade. The Shearwall tripped up as well?
Yep, just baited out.
Fantastic. Famous TP'd on over to provide additional support.
Oh, he's hungry.
Goes in for the check, but
yeah, he stepped out before the flash had really bloomed. Unfortunate.
not quite the situation you want to find yourself in if you are to pick up these full rifle rounds.
Yeah.
DRX on the other hand.
You already knew that NC Slasher was here too.
Yes. Happy to capitalize on the situation, knowing that NC Slasher is somewhat alone, but Shiro has arrived. Unfortunately, though, the Tejo utility will not allow him to come onto the lines. So this is a Boom that has been knocked off balance. Can they recover?
Good shock dart.
30 seconds left.
Can you get anything more here, though, as Boom?
Armageddon as well, just to secure the round.
Don't mind it. You're going to have to force Berserks into a save here. Just a couple of moments in that round. I mean, Boom, they looked like they were going to be able to hold down A and really, you know, stick it in the challenge, but call it, I don't know, a need, a desire to close around, to get hungry, to still challenge in this one. Famous goes a little bit too early and gives a bit of stability for DRX in the 3 versus 3.
Certainly. But nonetheless, it is DRX. Having played this map just from last week, looking a little bit warmed up. I would imagine, though, Boom, leaving this intentionally open from the map veto, that they have something prepared, especially given the composition as well.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
said,
Boom got to pick between this and Lotus, right? So they'd be feeling a little bit more comfortable in their preparations on this map as opposed to that one.
I want to see them, you know, coming with more set plans to dismantle more of like the utility that DRX is providing, especially towards B main, because that was something that Global struggled with. Estrella once again with the sheer wall and those salvos.
Drone down mid, gonna be a cheeky peek if you want to try and go for this one.
Not quite, not this time.
Yeah, no, think better of it. You don't want to see situations where Boom are giving into DRX, like giving DRX favorable duels, right?
So trying to keep control over the map. One-way smoked up again. And see Slasher.
Just real patient for DRX. Working the map, baiting out the utility, making it a little bit easier for an eventual hit. And trying to expose a gap as well, up the guts.
Yeah, refreshing those smokes, and it does, you know, it's a little bit costly for DOS9 to keep doing that. Meanwhile, down into Pizza.
Dimensional drift out for Famous. Timing to start to figure out if it's going to be A or if it's going to be B. Sees the bodies in through market. You're incentivized to kind of help the team here, and you can't really get out.
Needing to scout. He does get out of it. The sheer wall somewhat helps him stay alive, but that leaves Berserks alone on the site. Shiro now coming in out from spawn. Famous finding a frag of his own, and it keeps DRX at bay. 3 on 3, just like we saw from before, but in a different site.
No util, really, just DOS9.
Okay, he hears the spike tap, now goes in for the peek off the flash.
Pumps.
So in for Famous, he finds the swing. Double spray found, and Shiro for the final trade.
Not able to communicate that one quickly over towards Marco to try and get the trade, unfortunately. But that one going the way of the Boom guys. Some good timing on a bit of that utility as well. Getting all the information on the back of the Dimensional Drift. This one, a little bit narrow focus, was Berserk's up to the laneway, but when the plant, you know, starts to be established, there's no immediate trade to get out on towards the Famers there, and then it's a good double up from Boom. So, you know, backwards and forwards are fair if you want to continue to go that way. I'm still looking to see, you know, for freeing how this Yoru works. I think that's the big question, is how is freeing's Yoru going to work? Because you've pulled him off the Teo, and in this round, he's going on a solo mission to find all the info for the team, and they'll collect back at B.
Hyunmin now comes in with the blades! Scouting found by freeing. Hyunmin to knock and strike all of it down.
That's probably the round.
Quick reaction from Boom, though. Famous might be nearby with an outlaw, but is that going to be enough? It still is a 3-on-5 where Boom have the better weaponry. They're trying to at least find some numbers here.
Yeah, but it's a 3-on-5, man.
Oh, not even the head. Hyunmin slices and cuts him up instead. And C-Slasher now possibly just to hold for the exits. But even then, you gotta be careful. Boom look somewhat rocked. It is rather early, but considering the fact that they are playing in front of the opponent's home crowd, you gotta imagine there's some effect there.
Well, I mean, this sort of round shaken up a little bit by freeing on the dimensional drift and just DRX getting in towards the site. You're not looking at the right spot.
Cool. Okay, and C-Slasher to stabilize. Came close to it.
4 versus 2. These are the sort of rounds where if you are, as DRX on a lesser equipped buy, like having something to catch your opponents off guard is gorgeous, right? Hyunmin gets in, gets all the shots, really just locks down the site, and then the round's done. Like, it's 2 versus 5, you're looking to peel away, save your guns, do some more damage. It kind of is what it is, but you're setting yourself up for a good attacking side as DRX here. If you can draw out some utility early in this sort of round, if you draw out those ultimates, I mean, you'd be laughing as DRX in this round, because Boom, they're not fully equipped. If Berserks is somehow able to bring them down a size by getting the Steel Garden, then maybe.
DRX, on the other hand, though, has been running with the same default for the past several rounds now. Same shear wall. And it's beginning to keep Boom invested onto the B site now. Off of this, DRX then can look for a rotation somewhere else.
Yeah, but Boom haven't really pushed up too far in the weaker side of the map, right? You're playing the 3. I'll call it 1-1, 1 up 3 to watch over mid, and 1A main. You don't want to be caught out on a little lurk like that. 50 seconds. As DRX is still surrounding this B site. How much do they think they need to invest remaining in this round?
Boom. They're thinking, they're scratching their heads. DRX keep jabbing at them with these utilities down into B.
The problem is it's just Berserks here.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. But Berserks alone still could do some damage. Shiro in with some ult as well.
Yeah, this is a heavy investment with 20 seconds still to go. Berserks has Thorns.
Trying to play around the time. And C-Slasher in with the Armageddon as well. Thorns might aid him. Berserk still trying to stay hidden. But the blind works out great! Takes down Mako, and all of a sudden, Boom find themselves at a worthy head of a potential Thrifty, down to a low HP Bane, and Famous will be the decider.
Yeah, I think the question that I was posing to the teams is how much do you want to invest in that round, right? DRX with the heavy equipment, the more powerful guns, they've got an ult of their own, but it's Boom, right? Lesser equipped, a lot more ultimates to invest in. If the round doesn't go their way and they do invest it, it would be really unfortunate. But the fact that the timing feels right, that they need to, the fact that Berserks even finds the first shot from the ledge, and the rest of the team, you know, it works a treat, right? You've got what? Steel Garden, Hunter's Fury, and Armageddon to come away with that round there. You do like to see that for Boom to keep this one in a good contest state, and now there's an operator out for Famers.
Now beginning to peek out to foil DRX's plans of working around B main.
We have
a lot of information now.
We have seen Wine be played with a little bit here from DOS.
Yes.
And if he's by himself with no bailout strategy, it'll be awkward. So I would say a little bit lucky that he isn't targeted there. But the fact that you're overlooking Famous' operator line where you already had the shear wall popped earlier, that's a little bit of a no-no.
Yeah, DRX had no idea it was an op, and they were thinking that possibly, you know, it might have been the over-rotation onto the A site. So now they're being kept honest instead. especially with the dimensional drift now, spotting out that there is nobody except Estrella on towards tiles. Boom should be prepared for this A-hit. DOS9, however, unfortunately finding minimal success. And C-Slasher and Berserks will be able to chime in.
And they already knew where Estrella was, right? He was just spotted out by the ult over at B.
Famous.
And with 30 seconds to go, you know what this
30
is.
seconds left.
It's podcast time. 30 seconds to just do whatever.
For DRX to truly start an episode where they kind of talk things over with Mako.
You get into this sort of territory for DRX where you can have a pretty impactful round too, right? Like, you've got the Steel Garden still, you've got the Armageddon. These are some components that you can just get into the B site real rapid.
Seen them do it before.
Yeah, the only thing for me is now that Boom have this operator in play, you're going to have to off-put Famous on the line first.
One thing DRX did last week was salvos in B main, and instead of the sheer wall that he often puts down, it's the arc rows to flash anyone who might be, you know, famous maybe.
Going for any little look in towards.
And that could be that quick hit to B.
Could be, potentially, but of course we don't exactly have the Armageddon just yet. If you want to get on the line though, you can certainly do that to then pick it up off the orb.
Berserks has got to set up on his own.
Yeah, this one will be interesting. See how DRX want to try and bring this lighter buy into a possibility.
Famous looking to re-peek. Blind sides of his own. Oh, he couldn't get out! He gate crashes into his own. And that's going to be now onto the Frenzy. He still gets a two kill. So that's 2 for 1 now. Bane looking to recover. Steel Garden at hand as well. So
but they can't
DRX
get in.
Feels like they have to keep going in, but yes, they can't. Been blocked off, especially with that sheer at hand. So Mako looking to take things into his own hands, but the Thorns will burn Estrella. Mako in with a stinger, tries to go in for the CQP, but it's not quite meant to be.
Gun barrel spotted, by the way.
Bane now up. Swaps the angles on over onto CT where he knows the next threat would be, but the numbers not quite favoring him. Boom will find the lead.
Good patience at the back of sight there as well, not to overextend and potentially give it up. And then the call for the double swing, nicely done. As Boom will take the lead. Famous, a little bit unlucky that he wasn't able to gate crash out of there, but it feels like to me, audibly, they've heard it, and then it was kind of cancelled, right, by the stealth drone. So maybe they like expected him to have gotten out of there. Regardless, he navigated it well to be able to escape from 2 and do the damage for the team to be able to, you know, be in the contest to win the round. Now, a timeout from DRX. A couple more rounds left in this first half, and going into a proper bye round could be a good one for them to keep things equal.
It really is such an incredible storyline, though, for Boom to come all the way up from Ascension, now challenging DRX on a map which they, you know, kind of stake their claim to this entire scene.
The big difference, though, in how Gen G have been playing and Boom's idea against them, it was quite targeted, right, with in Phoenix? That Gen G game. Against Suggest, I'll say it real. I'll say it.
Go for it.
And in this one, when it flips over, I don't think you're going to be able to do the same, right? And it's a completely different agent comp for Boom. So they do have to tackle it a little bit differently.
Agent comp, different opponents.
Yep. A different day in the office. So...
Big day in the office.
Yeah, for sure. One of these teams will continue a flawless run in the group.
Only one.
For now, though, on the back of that timeout, folks, see what DRX are going to look to come out with. Some mid-control from the drone, answered in spades by NC Slashers up through short, spotting out 2. They're quite close as well. Feel like you need to fall back just a little bit.
Yeah, trying to make their way out of these dangerous spots, but still, Gunman has to pin down. Now into the side, especially the Armageddon at play. It's going to be trades for days. DRX, though, finding themselves in a favorable position now with the numbers at hand. Berserks might have arrived on the crime scene, but he's finding corpses scattered everywhere. Maybe with a peek off from heaven, but you've got to be careful with how you're isolating these angles, especially thinking around Hell. Well, generator was cleared. Now checks into Hell. Spots out Freeing, but a little bit too close.
All the trades. Freeing had an option there as well. If the shots started to go haywire, you can get out of dodge and play with his teammate. They could, you know, call to swing together, for example. Tied up on the back of that time out. Great shots to come on in. I think just being aware of all of the trades as DRX there, making sure you're all watching the angles and being in a situation where you can go for the trades as well, right? If you kind of bait your team and you don't immediately look to get that trade, it probably goes a little bit differently there.
The quick round picked up now. Nearing the end of the first half, DRX will continue to buy back up, freeing onto the Stinger and a quick scouting mission down A short.
Yeah, and what can he find right now as well? Because some Vice utility is around this site. That's going to lock out Famous from going for a challenge as he's salvoed away.
Still got the Arc-Rose on the site, though. And they've heard exactly where Mako is. In with the Arc-Rose flash, but trapped down inside. And Berserks manages to, well, get away with the door broken. Spike planted.
And no ults really for Boom to be able to get on in here.
Also for DRX to have some utility ready to let rip. Mako looking for the right opportunity to send that flash, and there it is.
Salvos now for NC Slasher.
Trying to flush him out of position. DOS9 with a flash of his own. Kind of wallbang through, and Shiro looking to take more space down in. Hell has been cleared now, watching out for door. Hyunmin still able to cause some havoc. Off towards the next spots, though. It's up towards A main with Fring on that Stinger. Boom should be able to body block most of the shots and get the spike into at least half. Found him, and that's going to be Estrella now coming through. He's gotten the short, and he's gotten the fights. Wait, a triple kill down at the end, but the spikes?
It was denied.
Not defused.
It was denied. That had to be the legitimate millisecond of millisecond by my eyes.
Unbelievable.
That is absolutely crazy trying to trace that last one. I mean, the reveal on towards Bane to get that one, and a reload caught out there for Hyunmin. How has he managed to win that one, Estrella?
It's criminal, just slotted into the team, and he's able to put up incredible performances, clearing out all the angles.
It wasn't the millisecond of the millisecond. It looked like there was a little bit more of a sliver of a chunk there, but it still was absolutely close.
And now, not letting go of the button, it's going to be DRX once again back into B with this same default. Boom, though, having dealt with it, now looking to trip the sheer wall.
Oh, Famous wants to go for this B main play.
Not the best equipment so far, though.
Yeah, it has a bit of a different flavor on it. No operator.
DOS9 looking to get a little bit cheeky. Might have heard a hop.
We'll see. Mako
the one way
has liked playing up here.
Yeah, with the flash as well. So that's a fully blinded, well, near side of DOS9 now, still finding the torso of Mako.
But on the
Flashes
side,
off his own as well, and he's hungry for more. DOS9 looking famished, but unfortunately punished for it. NC Slasher now has to hold down the site, sends out the Armageddon, and that's going to be DRX looking to get the spike down soon enough. Pop flash out from Freeing, but it's dimensional drift from Famous to counter.
If the plant goes down, Australia will have the ult, by the way.
Gate crash noted. Shiro looking to sneak through, but Freeing, what a flick! Takes down his opponent. Steel guarded now from Estrella, just to keep his opponents honest. Freeing then swings out, finds the other frag. The final player left, Berserks, shotgun challenge. DRX collected the first half.
Oh, a couple of these rounds are getting so close, man. It leads in for some entertaining Valorant, doesn't it? But the judge, you know, gets it started. NC Slasher is really feeling the trouble on the site there as well. I was thinking to myself, you know, an Armageddon can be really powerful. It's got that wind-up time. You can get traded if you're trying to bring that one out. And at the end for Berserks, I mean, unfortunately, into the player that has the shorty when all of the guns are removed from both teams' Steel Gardens invested. Bit unfortunate there, but 7-5. Pretty close, not exact. Now on the flip up as well, right? Gonna have a bit of a different look for DRX. How is this defense going to look?
Well, if last week is any indication where they had well, I don't want to say flawless because they only played like
4 rounds.
4 rounds, yeah.
4 rounds.
So not too much revealed, but it still is a really good indicator for how DRX might be able to play out this entire map. Boom, they had the lead at some point, but now kind of letting slip again.
Well, I think for me as well, in the one duelist approach for Boom is how are you going to be utilizing Famous on this Yoru to clear a lot of the space to dive in towards it? You know, are you more going to be relying on Shiro and NC Slasher trying to just set you up and have Berserks to be able to do something as well on the Vice, right? When the Thorns and the Flash is going to be available, or is he really just still going to be playing on towards this lurk role, the likes of what Straya was kind of doing a bit? There's options for sure on this agent composition, but this is the first time that Boom have deployed it. How confident are they now?
That remains to be seen. We're seeing the difference between, you know, the double duelist and Shiro onto the Sova. Hyunmin still putting up some good numbers up for DRX. Meanwhile, for Boom needing to do quite a bit as well. Shiro will kick things off with a Sheriff shot down mid.
Yep, Shiro with the Sheriff on the Sova. Don't want no util.
And then to recollect themselves all towards a main. Salvos to clear out wine and everything else.
Slow and steady. Good dark cover actually from Marco. Means that someone can sneak back in towards wine if they did want to allot for some sort of trap like that.
And at the same time for Freeing to go for a cheeky little jump peek just in case.
Yeah,
doesn't spot anyone out.
It's all about finding out where these players are at the moment. Boom have a player advantage.
Exchanging information with the stealth drone going out as well. So now trying to get the pinch on towards Freeing. They will find it. Boom. Finding numbers advantage in early parts of the round.
Marco and Bane at this A site. See if the pistols are going to be able to do something in a potential crossfire or not.
Or they're going to find themselves in a bit of a hairy situation. Maybe able to flash themselves out, but unfortunately the angles all fully covered by the Indonesian fire squad.
And I do believe, unless Australia comes out with a 1 versus 5, this will be DRX's first descent drop for a while in the pistol rounds. They'd make it 5-1.
No, you're going to mar that perfect pistol round record? Australia, you got to do it. Keep it a perfect 100%.
The time's on, though.
Yeah. Oh, God. And Famous is slowly creeping up from behind as well.
Just don't try and go for a knife and whiff it if you're going to do that.
Oh, he's going for it. He's going for it, and he does! Fully backstabbed.
Into the side. Pistol round, though, for Boom. Hey, could have come out with it flawlessly, but I think in the entertainment value, that'll give you a little bit of a chuckle. Good little plan from them to go strengthen numbers at the top of mid and good patience throughout the round as well. You know, just making sure that they're all having the time to discuss how they want to adjust around the site.
I love to see him in high spirits, but yes. His gun's purchased up now. Boom with the slight 2-3 split. Similar protocols on both ends, but it's going to be the counter salvos for DRX.
Immediate trip of that shear as well, and there's not going to be any Yoru play in front of it. You're going to fall on back, make sure that there's no overextensions here. These are the sort of rounds, again, you know, you just want to see Boom kind of 100% them as a round like this should go. Wouldn't mind Shiro picking up the orb as well, and maybe even be going for a plant, get closer to a Hunter's Fury real early on in the piece.
Analytics change and Boom find themselves in a position towards B main. Estrella taken down.
Oh, and Hunmin actually tagged up by this stealth drone.
Repositioned somewhat, looking for a potential right click.
Big rotation, everybody from DRX here.
Fully noted right now as well. Boom, what a mid-round call.
Yeah, just get out of there.
Famous, happy to stay his welcome, find a couple more kills if possible. Swaps over onto the Sheriff, which unfortunately has a longer draw animation. And then they made around back in from market through back to B. Well, denying Hyunmin any opportunity.
Yep, and now Freeing just with the classic and a door closed to see what he can potentially do.
Knock on the door. Kick the door down.
Spike planted.
Sit here, look pretty, go up with the spike.
That's the more likely scenario that's going to play out, yes. Look pretty and talk things over.
Yeah, you got your rifle round coming in the next one. So how are you going to look to do that on the defensive side? Do you want to go for a little bit of aggression together as a team? Or do you really just want to play it more on the default side, right?
To play a long game, you would imagine trying to go off something more default. But we have seen, yes, we have seen the aggression coming through. Counter salvos, stripping the shear wall, and they have a double duelist.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to probably see freeing. Just look to rotate between the sides where required.
That's the current situation right now. DRX, not too bad, but Boom showing off a lot of crazy mid-rounds as well. And while they might not be here, certainly feeling the support of the Indonesian home crowd back at the watch party.
I was interested to see what this rifle round was going to be presenting for us on Australia's setup with the Vice as well. Going to go over to the A site with a deep wall that you actually need to kind of, push a body out towards if they don't see it early, and Famous uses the clone just for it. And more of a default for Boom. See if any challenges are given to them.
None so far.
This is cheeky though. DOS9 spots the information onto Hyunmin's position. Meanwhile, a bit of a push up in towards B main, freeing to bait the shear. And likewise, on the A side of things, I just mentioned the shear that Australia's put down. Well, he's seen a bit of utility. So there's an idea that it was a bit of a default, but Berserks, again for an opener, this time on a freeing.
Not too shabby. Now more options found. They will trip that deep shear wall as well and manage to get away with it, but Mako finds an angle onto Famous.
Yeah, he's just saved Australia there, to be honest.
Okay. Berserks, however, right now trying to catch up to his team. Spotted out by Mako.
Oh, the
team, however, will be able to flash themselves into the site.
How has Shiro found that, by the way, with a Spectre at that distance?
A couple of taps, perhaps, but nonetheless, you gotta deal and fend off even more, because incoming players are going to be Mako and Hyunmin until Mako's been quickly dispatched of. And Z-Slasher now, and the rest of the team position themselves towards A main as well as Hell.
Just don't give that that option in the corner of that dark cover. You want to jump up there potentially as DOS, but nope, you think better of it. You play the numbers, 4 versus 2, and now by the timing, we can see that DRX are opting for the save, which means that the bonus round is going Boom Esports' way. And if the last map is anything to consider here, Quack, this one might go the distance.
Certainly hoping for it as well.
So you want to
entertaining Valorant all throughout.
So you want to see as many gun rounds as possible for DRX to put themselves in a good favor to keep it challenging. So saving those 2 guns there, not the worst of ideas.
Certainly looking to assist for the
He's literally just spected him at the tail end whilst blinded halfway across the map. I know he saw him before the arc rays popped, but still.
It's skill. But yes. So Boom now with the bonus round picked up. They find themselves an outlaw at hand.
Yep. Hyunmin. Ooh. Let's see what he can do with B main. Of course, there is a buy up behind those 2 saved guns.
Okay. A safer shear wall on towards the B site.
Oh, this is risky, but a straight up SMG close proximity.
You can't die either, or the shear wall will be gone. So it's a couple of sprays, back pedals into safety. Of course, feeling the looming threat of the entire Boom Fire team now.
Yeah.
Salvos to delay, allowing for Hyunmin to find some peaks, but unfortunately sniped out.
And now you get an idea as Boom that there's a big rotation here as well, right?
So,
oh, what? No! What is the timing on that?
Freeing.
That's gross.
Just reacting in kind. Meanwhile, Mako will continue to peak, so nothing too much found.
Because the flash is dodged. Freeing gets out of there.
And will be able to come back in through to support Estrella, who is spraying for dear life with a stinger right now. Flashed out, Freeing finds one more, but it is individual trades. Boom find themselves a bit of a numbers advantage, although Berserks is low HP. DOS9 hunkers down, finds the frag, and it's now a 3v1.
And they don't know where Mako is, they don't know where he's going to be coming from. But Berserks is on the right line with the right gun, if you think about it. The Outlaw to get the job done, and that is Boom continuing this flawless run on the attacking side so far with 4 in a row. That's another, I don't want to really call it a gun round, but there was kind of enough there from DRX to really make that that one, you know, maybe workable. A couple of vandals and stuff.
I see what you're saying, but it also is, you know, a huge contrast to how DRX was playing against Global Esports last week, where now you've got this 4 glowing red win streaks coming out from Boom. DRX needing this timeout somewhat.
Yeah.
Termi intervening.
Definitely needs to come out with something big here, because this is the last one that DRX have, right? Boom still holding onto both of theirs, not needing to, you know, drop them. And if they start to continue to have a bit of a wriggle on as well, you know, and they're getting some rounds here or there, and DRX are still behind, do you even then consider to use one of your own to give DRX enough time to have a talk as well, right? Like, if you win this next round as Boom, and you convert after your opponent's bonus rounds, you're probably not needing to see yourself timeout until, you know, it really gets to the later stages of the map, right? Unless you're tied up 10 apiece, or you're up 11 to 9, and then, you know, you don't want to see them get to 10 before you get to 12 or something like that. I don't know. It's an important round, though, regardless here, Quack.
It's timeouts, yes. That can be very valuable when things get dire.
Yep, and with the guns being present again for DRX, you know what a counter for that is? Well, it's Berserks with the Steel Garden. If Boom have an idea on where they want to try and navigate around this map and try to potentially end things, that can make things quite nice for them.
Without a doubt. Still, though, we'll start things off with Salvos once again. A little bit more down middle, trying to disguise some of Boom's other intentions.
Yeah, Famous putting the pressure on mid, trying to draw some attention here. Hyunmin to rate the clone, and Bane to get in towards market.
2 players, though. Thankfully, the smoke comes up, but the spams will still go through.
Famous a bit too far ahead of the team there, unfortunately. So now you're at a deficit as Boom. Maybe even a secondary one as Berserks keeps going here.
He will opt for the wide swing, but Free just quickly dismisses of him.
Yeah, and if you want to try and go to this A side, I mean, with all this Vice utility, it should be unachievable.
Hey. 50 seconds, it's a lot left on round timer.
Yeah, and Bane, I mean, if he sees the pressure here, he's got his teammate and freeing around him, he's still got special delivery and salvos. They can just call and play for the 3 versus 5 here. They don't necessarily need to take a fight. You even drop the door, rather, so...
It's a rather risky round to go for.
Oh, it just makes it so hard for Boom to try and get something back in towards this round. I wouldn't even be surprised if they just save.
Yeah.
I know they've got a lot of money, but there's just nothing you can really do. Bully your way into A, where a door has also just been shut on you.
Yeah, 15 seconds now. Unless you can kill these 2 players on the site with a snap of your fingers, this is a really tough.
Okay, hang on a second.
Until Shiro sneaks up from behind, finds a double, traded off by Hyunmin. Spike still looking to get planted, and now Frenzy Slash to hold the angle, unfortunately falls, and now DOS9. He has to, once again, step up to bat. Freeing flushes him away with the Dimensional Drift. DOS9 ignores it. Tries to dodge the flashes as well, manages to deal with Bane.
No way!
Comes back into it and quickly eliminates Freeing. DOS9, everybody.
If ever there was a moment for stuns to not be cosmetic in this game, that is the moment right there.
Oh, Red Bull clutch from the sun from Kazakhstan.
Oh man, it's a 2 versus 1. The Dimensional Drift, I was gonna say before they immediately kind of called to go for it, would they use the Dimensional Drift to try and find him and block him and make it awkward for him? DOS9, I mean, this guy he had a shocker. Like, he's not been having the greatest time in the server today, I will admit. Currently one of the, you know, the worst performances of him, but to come out with that one, the moments are still there for him when they really do need, hey.
Love it. Next round up now, though, and Boom playing it a little bit safer. You've got the Outlaw on Berserks and the shear wall instantly tripped. That's something that DRX has been doing, not allowing for, you know, Boom to create any form of pressure with that wall.
And that was after DRX's timeout, by the way.
True that.
So now it's all down to what the team can think for themselves in this, unless Boom give them the timeout to have some revitalization, though Hyunmin has to think better of going for another duel there. But he wants it.
Yeah, he's got Mako.
They can get a lot of space here.
To him.
Who's next?
I mean, Hyunmin's looking for the potential Blade Storm, I believe.
He's just looking for something for the team, I think, at this ball. Junk shot.
Information as well, though, and now it's going to be Armageddon from Boom to try to create a little bit more space, especially the dimensional drift from Famous as well. Finds the entry, continues with another blind. Freeing will be happy to pick up that rifle. Berserk's now arriving from lane, though. The rest of the team looking to waterfall down on towards Estrella. Estrella dancing back and forth with the Stinger, looking for the opportunity, but unfortunately not quite. Spike will still be planted right next to him, and Berserks eliminates Hyunmin.
They don't care. They do not care that he's at the back of the site. They know there's 20 seconds. They've got numbers. They have to get a plant.
Good.
He's got a Stinger. You don't want to give him a favorable duel.
Uh-oh.
And now it's 7-11. But look at all of those rounds in a row from Boom. They still are holding the sheer garden too, right? The one ability that can just kind of stop DRX from being able to shoot back when you're going for a hit. You remove their guns, right? You make them play in towards choke angles. You make them play a little bit different. Have to even contend if you want to bring out a pistol, because in this sort of scenario, you might come to expect that Boom would set up together to go for a hit into the site using the sheer garden, right?
Yeah, thinking about it. You got to watch for these positions.
Well, if they
does have the Blade Storm.
If they drone into the site right now, they could drop the shit, the garden, and kind of fashion a good one.
Almost. Yeah, the options are still there, even with the fake out quickly dealt with. Hyunmin now trying to get out of dodge.
Staved off.
Guard, and there it is.
Staved off by the salvos. And the Blade Storm, you got to remember, is still available here
Boom
as well.
Place. Mako still jiggling. At some point, you got to rotate on over. Boom are not slowing down, but a bit of a team kill coming through. Nonetheless, Boom still trudge forward. Hyunmin hopping over, looking for the blade. He's got 4 left. Bane off to the other end, though, trying to prevent Boom from creating any further space. DOS9 somewhat trapped until he can slip through into market. Spike not quite planted yet because you've got these 2 anchors on the site.
You don't exactly know where Bane went either, to be honest with you. He's gone on towards the A site in case there's a rotation call.
Oh, Mako. He's got the Phantom. Close range could help him out, but somewhat double peeked out. And the Crosshair not just able to drag over.
Hyunmin
hopping out of the smoke now. Hyunmin alongside Estrella. Arcros popped, but nothing much found. The shot's not quite connecting. Estrella will only be able to find the first. DOS9 now on to the double kill.
And Bane was way too far away as well. He's got salvos, but it's a 1 versus 2 here, Quack. If Boom play the crossfire right, they could find the series point.
Bane. Like you mentioned, salvos, but where do you place them? Surely into Boathouse for 1, but pops it off. No one's giving him the peek. He does find the first flick, though. Continues to push on forward, hops down, and dives onto DOS9.
No crossfire! No crossfire to come out from Boom. I said if they played that one right, they could potentially get it out. No slipping into the stairs, trying to stand and deliver. But Bane will hold on for DRX here. 8-11, the first attacking round dropped for Boom Esports. By the way, Berserk's found some damage towards his body at the choke point by the salvos, if I am remembering correctly, and that's why he was within an inch of his life and was able to be finished off by the Hunter's Fury.
Cool. Tough, but for a guy who was the 6th man to come back into the squad, just being able to pull off a performance like that
11
extends DRX's life, yes.
Is all they get? Isn't that what we said last map?
I'm shaking my head, and I'm really wondering about this, but, you know, certainly want to keep your hopes up for Boom. They've been putting up quite the performance thus far.
Yeah, need some good decision-making here.
Okay, mid. Salvos as well, and it forces Green to gate crash away.
Oh, there's some timing here for Estrella.
All right.
How far forward does he want to push, though? That's the question.
Yeah, Berserks has kept that sheer wall a little bit further back now.
Yeah, numbers as well. Look at this one. Hyunmin, is he any clue?
Can't really get away either. All frags or nothing, especially once those flashes go through. A little bit more support coming up with Freeing close by. But here come those kills. Oh, they have actually managed to find 2. DOS9 trying to equalize, but not quite. Famous caught inside of the smoke. Armageddon launched by Bane as well. Famous takes down Yunmin and now looks to recollect with his fallen teammates, but Astray up by stairs, denies entry. Berserks to trade right back. 1 on 2.
And how do you play this one if you are DRX as well?
Oh, he's thinking about a weapon, but it's not quite safe enough, so still sticking on to the Outlaw.
The thing is, they're both at 125 HP here. So the Outlaw's not the worst gun.
But you have to think about the reload, so positioning very crucial.
One shot each, Quack.
That's all you got to go for.
Timing.
One shot, one kill. Berserks peeks, doesn't see him. Where could they be? Goes back around lane, spots out the first, that's the first kill. Punch in your second ticket, Berserks, because it's right there. Swaps to the shorty, hops in, and finds Mako! No clutch for the guy, and it's Berserks who picks it up instead!
Red Bull clutch to come through from Berserks, and it's series point for Boom Esports. And they got 4 of them. You look at the crossfire that was attempted in the middle there from Freeing to push through that dark cover as well. Hyunmin trying to do what he could. And it's not happening, but it's Berserks. I told you what, the Outlaw, it only needs 1 shot to finish off an opponent on 125. But the shorty as well, the sidearm, salvages the situation.
Oh, and with the win against the home crowd, all of a sudden, a little bit more silent now.
I have a feeling the big time might have to be buying the bundle soon.
Certainly got an itch for it. Boom. Looking to send themselves forward, possibly getting the lock into playoffs. Well, I mean, they already have that, but top seed.
Boom, top seed. Could you imagine?
Oh, DRX, do you have it in you? Playing around the smokes, not the best guns. Sheriff spams. And it's the Owl drone that clears out wine. Boom,
Yeah,
looking to set things up towards the A site.
For Marco, he wasn't spotted for the moment. Now he is. Berserk's on towards Freeing. This is where a crunch opportunity happens on the A site.
Right, still got those thorns, but Mako trying to play around the smokes, repositions, but unfortunately pitched down. The full swarm from Boom. 2 players left. Now Hyunmin and Estrella running off the tracks on towards heaven. They got to wait for that recon. The spike gets planted. Thankfully, they will shoot out Storm, so a little bit more space, but can they dive down to hell safely enough? No smokes. Goes in for the hop. Hyunmin, Stinger has the first kill, but the shorty and the phantom kill out from A main. Boom! Done it!
The Indonesian squad are indomitable here in the server today. I thought it was going to end in map number 2, Haven, but my oh my, did DRX give him a rocker there. It doesn't matter, folks. That was an entertaining map of Ascent. Moments from both teams, but it's the attacking side from Boom Esports that they just had a clear vision, 2020 vision in 2025.
2025. It is incredible. Unfortunate commiserations to DRX. They're still very much in play, but this was not quite a performance that we would have expected from them.